If this is your first time or your usual time with us, then welcome to XboxEra. We provide a platform for the Xbox community from our forums and Discord, our main site with the latest news and reviews, and our podcasts like the XboxEra podcast and You Have Me at Halo. We exist, our focus on the Xbox platform front and centre, because so many media publications out there don't. We love this community and believe Xbox really can be the very best place to play. If you love what we do, help us. You can join as a YouTube member, or even better, subscribe to us on Patreon. You help us grow and get plenty of perks to enjoy as a token of our appreciation. Just head to patreon.com/XboxEra. And as always, thanks for sticking around. This podcast is brought to you by executive producers Torn Raptor and Top. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 176 of the XboxEra podcast. That sounds about right. This is the Xbox-centric publication funded by and for our community. If this is your first time with us, then welcome. If it's your usual time, then welcome back. If you love what we do, you can support us directly, as always, by going to patreon.com/XboxEra or becoming a member right here on YouTube. As always, I'm joined by, wait a second, he's not here. Oh, this is great. I'm joined by Asante instead. Hey, bro, welcome back to the show.
It's the other person that people get mistaken for that show on Halo, that thing. Yeah, that thing. Yes. Hi, everybody.
It's good to have you back.
Very good to be back. It's the first time actually getting to be here on this show with you here. So this is an honor for me. This is awesome. I appreciate it. This is awesome. Very pleased. Yes.
And we've got Jesse's cat, who's in charge of things.
She has unbelievable timing. Literally, as I was going through clicking all the buttons, she wanted to start flopping on my hand on the mouse. So
it's a mouse. Hi. What do you expect? This is true. Oh, it's good to be back. It's another week of ridiculous video game drama. Nick isn't here this week because he's a bit under the weather. So I've sent him a big bunch of grapes to make him feel better. But he'll be back hopefully next week. Feeling a little bit more on top of things and a little bit better. But knowing Nick, instead of being in bed and enjoying a lay-in and resting up, he's going to be awake and in the chat annoying the shit out of us because that's who he is deep down. To quote that guy, what's his name? Oh, no, it's Alex. I saw it on Game on Daily earlier this evening. Fuck you, Nick. You Australian piece of shit.
Wow.
I'm just quoting. That's not from me. That's not from the heart. That's not from the heart. Love you, Nick. But yeah, we're here. It's another week. It's been a crazy week of absolute insanity on the internet. And I think that's probably going to be the hot topic of conversation today, probably. But before we get into that, what have we been playing? I think this is the same answer for all three of us. Would I be correct in this assumption? Apart from you, Jesse, you've been playing something different. What have you been playing, Kay?
Playing a little Bomb Rush, Cyberpunk. Playing a little. Okay. No, I have literally. Let me see here. As we speak, I will check. The last time I checked, I was 3 days, 4 hours, and 20-something minutes into Starfield. And right now, I'm sure I'm probably not too far from that. If I'm not talking about it, I'm probably playing it. So yes, I am playing Starfield. I am very, very, very knee deep into Starfield. I'm teetering on the. Should I just finish the storyline because I need a breather, or should I just I've regulated to palate cleansers at this point, but I'm still all the way into Starfield.
I mean, it's amazing you've spent that much time on a mid game like Starfield, but
we had a kind of conversation we're going to have today, sir.
I've got a lot I want to say. Like I've been thinking about. I've been writing some things, but I might produce an angry rant video because the internet is weird. There's a load of things that really bug me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we didn't get to actually speak too much about Starfield last week. Like it came out, we had MVG on. It was still pretty fresh, and lots of people hadn't finished the story. We didn't want to get too deep into the spoilers, but it'd be nice to chat about it a little bit more openly. So, chat, give us a shout if folks have specific things they want us to kind of talk about RE Starfield. But I guess Kay, seeing as you're here. Are you a Bethesda RPG guy? Is this your first foray because it's sci-fi? Like, what's your history with Bethesda RPGs?
Oh, yeah, I'm what you would call a gamer. So I've played a lot of Bethesda stuff. I just have. Let's see. I've played a whole bunch of Bethesda stuff in the past. Your Oblivions and your Skyrims, your Fallout. I appreciate all of the. I appreciate what they do and the scope and the scale they bring, but admittedly, this is my genre of choice. Right? I'm a big sci-fi guy, movies, TV, whatever you want. If it's sci-fi, I'm there. I'm a huge sci-fi guy. So this is my genre for them. I was one of there are rare people who made earnest comparisons to No Man's Sky. That was me. Like literally, the moment the thing came out, my first thing. And it was on Mr. Boomstick's channel. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Boom.
Yeah, you see me going, that looks like AAA No Man's Sky.
Specifically because of the resource grinding, right?
Well, it was because of the resource grinding, and oddly enough, it was you can actually find that footage now. Your very first mission where you go on the island with the pirates and you get on there and they're giving you your tutorial where there's that resource grinding, and then there's a weird killer crab thing that comes after you.
Yeah.
That asset right there is pulled from No Man's Sky. I mean, one for one. People know what I'm talking about. Yes, it's like the procedural gen lottery. It's the same looking kind of thing, and it made me go, "Oh wow, that is so No Man's Sky." I mean, in hindsight, it is No Man's Sky. It is Mass Effect. It is Skyrim. It is it's just all of them. Buddies of mine are talking about it. It is all those games as mini games inside the one game. You know what I mean? So yes, it's all that in one, and I love it for it. I think it's absolutely amazing. I think it's one of the crowning achievements. It's I'm biased. This is my genre of choice. It really connects with me. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's connected with me in a way that I didn't think an RPG would. Like the last RPG that I ever really truly got into was Mass Effect 1, and even that was like straining on being an actual RPG. And then when they streamlined the fuck out of it for Mass Effect 2, I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I was almost getting into the nerd stats there, but no, I can just walk around. It's really easy.
This is an RPG that you don't have to play as an RPG, right? Like, no. I know people who are playing this like your Call of Duty bombastic shooter, which you can do, right? You can totally play it like that all the way through. I know guys that are like No Man's Skying it for real. Like all it is No Man's Sky to them, and you can totally do that too. You know, it's very cool that it really is able to bring so many different genres into that one, you know, RPG element. Of course, it's a Bethesda game, so then you get your face, your
janky
blurry background faces, and you know, and yeah.
I've seen
it's great.
I'm
enjoying
stuff.
Myself.
I've seen some cracking like, memes and things.
My
I know
favorite,
Jesse called it out in his review. He was like, you know, a mostly bug-free run through in the 110 odd hours that you'd played, Jesse, but you were like, I'm definitely going to see some crazy shit online. And like within 2 days, like it's insane.
It definitely seems tied often to if you're above 60 as well on PC. That can lead to a lot of the pathing stuff that I had. I only ever had it on PC. I didn't have it on.
You're onto something.
Oh, so you think frame rate is tied to it? Interesting.
Yeah. Makes sense because I'm playing at like 100 and something frames. I'm playing it on a pretty capable machine. And yeah, every once in a while you're having a very intense conversation with Sarah, and she'll just start spazzing out and just losing her mind. You know,
like if you run quickly to a door and then you teleport through, when you load in, they'll come booking through really fast and running, and that has only happened for me when I was on PC over 60.
So the only other one that's happened to me that's unique is and forgive me, no one else is gonna no one has to agree with me, but I think they completely stole his likeness when you see Vlad, aka Paris Lily, in the eye. I was giving him a lot of crap about that on my show. You know, you see Paris Lily in the eye, right? And if you move away too quick, he has this like worried look at you, you know, and I literally recorded it for like 10 seconds of him just giving you that worried stare, right? And I put it on. Brilliant. I put it on Twitter. You know, this is what Vlad thinks of you when you give it a 7 out of 10. He's just stuck there, and you can't get out of his mood. You know, he's just giving you that Vlad look. It's there's that Bethesda jank, but besides that, it's you know, it's so much fun, But
I think you know you've segued on like there is news to cover, but like front and center, let's just talk about the big topic item, because it feels weird to kind of bounce off of Starfield and go through the news and then come back to it, right? And look, before we do that, actually, we've got a couple of super chats, right? Because I think some of them are 3 super chats. So we got Dominic Malta for a $1.99 super chat. I don't think, and I'm looking in the chat, he didn't follow it up with any words. He was just like, "Here's a couple of bucks. Have a nice time." So you know, like, I'm going to tuck that into my bra strap and carry on with my life. Appreciate it. Faisal, the king of handing out memberships on a whim, he says, "Welcome, Asante. Looking forward to a less Nintendo takes on this podcast."
Hey now. Hey, we've heard some rumors. I might be giving you some Nintendo takes.
Well, we can get to the Nintendo rumors because they are thick and in the air at the moment, thanks to Eurogamer's reporting. And then the last super chat we got from Sappho. Amazing Gaming Circle podcast today, sir. The slander, the sheer amount of violence that took place was epic.
Yeah, we start off small and then it goes off the rails quite quickly. It just kind of happened.
I think there's a lot to try and pass, and I know that the tendency, especially on YouTube and especially doing a live show, and it's a difficult thing to talk about. But I'm gonna try and set this up right. The whole debacle of conversation around Starfield, right? I'm gonna just lay this out in the best way that I can, and I just kind of want to get your take on my thoughts, and then let's see if people agree, and then maybe we'll get individual thoughts roll in and see what the chat thinks. So putting all of the fanboy insanity to one side, right? The specific thing that is really freaking irritating to me is the circling of the wagons of people that are doing what XboxEra does as a publication, right? So we take games, we review them, we go through them, we provide our thoughts, right? Now we go
to the publication, they tell us what score to give and what quote.
Microsoft signs the check, right. I mean, the fact that anyone thinks that actually is a thing is hilarious. Microsoft doesn't give a shit, right? Like, I'm just being real. Like, they get nothing. But the circling of the wagons from people going, "Oh, well, a 7 or 10, that's good. It says it on our thing. It says good." And I'm like, are you telling me, dear reviewers, right? And I'm going to be careful not to call them out by name, but you know what I'm talking about. Are you telling me that you are like genuinely straight face saying that you think that a 7 out of 10 from you, massive publication, isn't going to garner a reaction that you knew it was going to garner? You're telling me that you're going to look at your thing that says, 7 means this, and that's okay, and it's not going to get the negative reaction that is definitely going to come from giving it a 7. You're telling me that no conversation was had internally about the optics of 7 out of 10 in reality, not in your little metrics, not in XboxEra's metrics.
In the real world.
In the real world, you're telling me that you don't know what that actually means, like when you come out and say that. So there's that, and then there's the whole indignant, when other journalists were then calling that out publicly, like, come on, like, and then they were like, oh no, that's really, and then there's the mockery of each other and the attacking and the acting all indignant, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Does it not just reek of like absolute BS? Like, I don't give a shit about the scores, right? The game is going to be a runaway success. I don't particularly love Bethesda games. I really like Starfield, but what's your take on that? Do you find that weird that there's this mock kind of like, no, what do you mean? A 7's a perfectly fine score in this day and age. What do you mean there's negative reaction?
I try, like, when it comes to this kind of stuff, or in general, I try to err on the side of, tampering of expectations, calm it down. It's not what it seems to be. Let's take them at their word. That's how I usually play. That's how I want to usually play, right? And in that sense, right, I've said this before, there's a backdrop of what the consensus is by the community of certain outlets, right? We'll leave it at that. There's a consensus that is forming, right? And for better or worse, a lot of attention is brought there, right? And it's actually interesting that the situation happened the way it did, because it was weeks after another similar situation had happened where various outlets were coming out and saying, hey, it was an accident. We didn't do it on purpose. Don't claim that we are anti one platform versus another. But somehow, some way, it just keeps piling up on this one side versus another. This is the backdrop here. There are people that have come out and made their opinions known about Starfield, and all anyone sees when you come out, and we know this, all anyone sees is where you're from, what company you work for, right? So after that is known, everything else you say becomes, oh, here they go again, taking another thumb in the eye, as it were, right? And all that soup exists, and you guys drop what you drop, not expecting anything to happen. Like, to me, even the most cursory glance, the most benefit of the doubt we can give, the more explanations we're given, the more I mean, I went to bed that day, woke up the next morning, and there were still explanations being given. I was reading threads for hours, all that just keep, as the children would say, it's rising the sus meter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing if you go, look, man, this is how we feel about it. Keep it moving, keep it pushing. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, man, I, like Jesse, wasn't a big fan of the Rubicon game. I just couldn't get into it. No, it is what
dangerous.
It is.
Don't bring that up.
Sue me. It is what it is, right? And you just keep it moving. But this just kept on going and going and going, and made me go, yeah, those who want to wear the tinfoil hat, they have a point, because it just seems to be festering and getting more and more difficult.
This is what drives me nuts, though, is that we say this, and now we're just tarred with the brush. You're just fanboy conspiracy theorists. It's a persecution complex that doesn't exist. And I'm like, hang on a second. Just hold on. Bear with me for a moment here, dear reader, right? We're living in a world where, and I want you to imagine a universe where Xbox doesn't exist. Right? Now think about all of these Starfield articles that you're seeing from all of the sites that dumped on the game. and they are like just. And then you get the journalists that are all like, oh, I'm really upset about the reaction we're getting. I'm going to write an article about how Starfield isn't everything and that's okay. Or Starfield wasn't the last chance for Xbox. But wait, we said that last time that it was the last chance for Xbox, just like we said Halo Infinite was the last chance for Xbox. And there's this constant cycle of, oh, well, Xbox is really great for getting clicks, but in a negative way. And that's got to frustrate. Sure. And it's like, if Xbox didn't exist, you guys would have fuck all to write about a lot of the time, because the other two gaming big boys are very quiet most of the time. So I'm like, well, what is this? Does no one want to acknowledge that? Like, there is no acknowledgement of, here's 12 articles about all the things we hate about Starfield. Like, it's making us money because it's firing you guys up, but we're not going to acknowledge that is a process that happens. We're just going to keep tweeting it out.
What's weird to me, what's unfortunate to me by that, exactly what you're describing, is I want to have that merit conversation. What is this game worth? How is it, in comparison to other games? Let's have that conversation. But it seems like the meta narrative has poisoned the well so much that this game will never be looked at in a bubble for what it is and what it's not. It's unfortunate, So.
The bad thing about it was how an industry, and they're awful fans, but then they're being fed by industry people who are being just as toxic as the people they're going against. Like calling Jez a white whiny piss baby, like in public on your public account, calling him that on Twitter. Yeah, someone who works at GameSpot wrote that about Jez, and like it was a ton of people at Kotaku and GameSpot and other various websites.
The wagons,
they work there. This is their public. These are their public accounts, and they're just saying, "Oh, this is like blurring. This is what you get when you blur the line between fan and journalist." And it's like it's just nonstop direct insults. When you're also in other previous posts saying like we need to stop attacking each other so much a week ago, but it's like no, it's this really bad negative feedback loop where extremely negative fans are feeding into extremely negative industry people so much that eventually it just starts becoming personal. And it's like both of Jez's takes, even if you don't agree with them, I rarely agree with a lot of what Jez says on social media when he's just shit posting. They're not worth
jazzing it up,
It did not earn that type of personal attack. He was like, these seem cynical. And then people are coming back and saying, oh, this guy was losing his mind over it. And he's like, he literally just said that score seems cynical. Like Paul Tassie's been doing the same thing, but he is in with them. You can hear Greg Miller talk about DMing Paul Tassie about the game and stuff. Like Jez never got in the circle. So he's not really part of that crowd. He just gets really awful personal attacks and then everyone high-fiving each other saying, yeah, you really showed him. And it's like, you are doing the exact behavior that you rightly call out from fans. Like the fans who went after Stella Chung when she put up a tweet saying, I haven't played it yet, but this is what I think after watching footage of it. You can go like, oh, that seems kind of weird to me, but whatever. But then there's little, people just being horrific in the comments. So like, you've got really shitty people who do deserve being yelled at and treated the way they treat others, but Jez really never said anything worthy of personal attacks. And I've never seen and there's another thing I've noticed just going through people's feeds and seeing they were extremely hyped and loving Baldur's Gate 3 for like 3 weeks. And I get it. That game's really good. I'm like 10 hours in, not very far, but I really enjoyed it. Great writing. I'm not a huge fan of the combat, but everything else is top notch. And then once Starfield hit, it just felt like people they were putting their sights on, no, I'm going to make sure that I say that I get mad at people for enjoying something is what it feels like. And that's always the shittiest behavior. Like we've been having that even in the public Discord. There's always the same few people seemingly trying to make everyone feel bad for enjoying something and not wanting to give it a tough critical eye on every little nit they can pick on it. It's just it's really the discourse on this one is painfully toxic.
And
I agree.
You talk about this cycle, this loop, right? And this is jokingly how I kind of described it. Step one, right? This is it. Step one. Microsoft or Xbox announces a video game. And they follow their traditional marketing cycle of, guess what? We're going to try and get you excited about this product. Games media realizes that it's probably going to be a big game. So they start to churn out the articles of, it's Microsoft's last chance for redemption. And here's some headlines before Starfield released. I kind of semi-quoted Destin's last chance redemption. I know there's been a lot of back and forth on that. I won't linger on it. From another website, and I'm not going to name all the websites, right? But these are legitimate headlines. Can Starfield save Bethesda and Xbox? I didn't realize Xbox, who makes more money than Nintendo. Yes, I know they're in third place, but they make more money than Nintendo. I didn't realize it needed saving. But okay, let's pin in that. Xbox is running out of time to get it right. Oh, that's weird. I didn't realize Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment and Grounded and Flight Sim and Forza Horizon 5 and
the very well reviewed and loved
highly rated games,
Halo Infinite.
Okay, they're not getting it right because Redfall exists. Okay, all right, okay, right. So you've got all of these things, like, and then the media start to do this. Okay, let's pit this game against other games, and let's make it about this platform versus this platform. It can't just be, here's a cool video game. Oh, no, that won't get people clicking those buttons. Let's SEO bait the shit out of this. So then we get into that third step, the game releases, right? And then it's great, except actually it's not for these reasons. And then the SEO negative articles start to come out where we get, like, I think Games Biz Industry, whatever they are, GI Biz, Games Industry Biz, talking about Xbox needed a savior and pinning all their hopes on Starfield wasn't a thing. It's like, when is that the consensus? You guys are making that the consensus. You are then driving the negativity and then complaining about the negativity when it arrives on your doorstep.
And so much of it ignores all the wildly successful game as a service stuff they have.
Yeah.
That is what Sony's transitioning to. Like, they've got Minecraft, which just prints money forever. You know, Grounded's like 12 million players. Like, even their smaller stuff, Forza Horizon 5, 32 million players. Like, they've got games that just continually earn money. It's why their earnings are normally very good. So people, but you know, capitalism's all about constant growth. And oh, well, they missed targets. Yeah, they missed targets by making 3.5 billion. Like, they're not hurting. They made 3.5 billion in a quarter. They make a ton of money. They're spending 70 billion as a company because they think they're going to make a lot of money. They're not needing saving. They're just looking to grow the entire industry. Like Phil's talked about it before. They're not looking to overtake the old system. They are looking to get a nice big chunk of the new one, which is mostly mobile. So,
and we're at step 4 now in this cycle. All right. So the community reaction to the outliers of negativity and the slightly less positive reviews are there. The wagons will circle around. Those with valid criticism that are trying to have this kind of discussion are then tarred with the brush of, you're all fanboys. The opinion articles come out from all of these sites that suddenly get all this backlash and they're like, why are you being this way? And then we'll produce back to Microsoft announces another game. So I honestly wait for it. March next year, February next year, Hellblade 2, Last Chance. Like, it'll be something like that. You know. Well,
you forgot one. You forgot one of the
one of the steps.
One of the steps. One of the pillars. One of the
What's the step?
wonderful tropes that keeps happening. And I actually caught that this morning. We talked about it a little bit on our show as well. Have you heard the latest? Elder Scrolls 6 might not be an Xbox exclusive.
Fucking hell.
It's become a thing. It's like, oh, well, they ran the numbers, and in 5 years, maybe those numbers won't make sense. And it's like, well, the reality is the only thing that's going to stay multi-plat is if it's already come out, or if it's Call of Duty.
Oh no, I know this.
Yeah, but they refuse. Yeah, because Phil literally stated when they bought Bethesda, just expect things to be where Game Pass is, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. But then of course, Elder Scrolls 6. This will be, and this is the canary in the coal mine because this happened on September 9th when this was released. Expect this for the next 5 years until it comes out and inevitably is only on Game Pass. Now, of course, the caveat may be at that point, maybe Game Pass is on PlayStation 5. But until that's the case, this will be the driving narrative. And so will be every other game. While on the flip side, hey, PlayStation's releasing this game. All right, well, that's exclusive. We just know that. It's a continuing cycle. It is what it is. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah. I bet. Yeah. Anyway, look, we're not here to be like super negative about the game. So let's inject a little positivity. I want to talk a little bit about some of the cool moments we've had in Starfield. I would love it if the chat has anything cool they want to shout out, any cool stories, drop us a super chat. We'll read them out. And also, I want to inject a little positivity into things. So I've got four exclusive. These are very rare. I got them at Gamescom, and I just found them in my wallet because I forgot they existed. These are exclusive discount codes to get whatever the feck you want from Xbox Design Labs. All right, I've got them here. They're on these little pieces of paper. I'm going to hold them up to the camera at random points during the show. All right, now you can pause this show. You better get on redeeming that if you want to.
Be able to read them.
All right, okay. So I'll hold them up nice and close, like this. Like, oh, it's a code.
It's a code right now.
Look, it's going to be a discount code. There you go. You could pause it. That's it. It's up. It's done. We'll do another one later on. Starfield. Okay, Jesse. Favorite, and like we'll try not to get too spoilerific here, but favorite general quest line that you can talk about that or random event that you've encountered in Starfield. That's
I would have said Mantis, but now everyone on the planet's saying Mantis.
Everyone
so I can't say Mantis.
Quest.
I played Mantis 3-4 weeks ago. You slackers.
You played when it wasn't cool. Yes, I understand.
Okay, there's one you get from a distress beacon. It's kind of random. You'll come across a distress beacon as part of a faction quest line or the main quest. I forget. You end up on a planet that has 3 warring factions, essentially, saying how they are. So they're 3 disparate groups of people who seem to be kind of in a prison, being tended to by robots. I can't say much more than that. The writing in it was great. And another issue I have, and I don't care about scores. You want to give it a 4 and say it's the buggiest worst thing of all time, fine. If you want to give it a 5 from Pace Magazine, if you want to do 5.8, like 7s, whatever. If you back it up and say, I just didn't like this, and this, that's fine. But saying that the choices don't matter is wrong, because I save scum and tried 7 choices on this one quest that all really changed how everything went. It is really good. I don't want to. The coolest thing about it is like who these people are, essentially. So I don't want to spoil that. But just know there's 3 factions and a bunch of robots are kind of hurting them in this little planet they've been on for a long time. Yeah, and will find if there is I heard a distress. It starts with an activity that is a distress beacon, which is why I said in the review, don't ignore activities. Activities can lead to some of the best, very long quest lines. So
yeah. For sure. Yeah. And we're just going to pause because I realized I've got a super chat that I missed, which is from Trev G, $10 super chat. Thank you, my man. Is it possible to verify the average age of the toxic, disingenuous journalists in the gaming community? I genuinely don't believe anyone of a mature age can post garbage as they continue to do.
You don't get that much smarter as you age, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like I was smart, experienced maybe, but I'm as smart as I was when I was like 19. But here's the thing. I don't, for the majority of these websites, us included, we don't call ourselves journalists. All right.
No,
we are just like you guys, except we wanted to just like build a site that actually spoke to this audience and was for the people that play on this platform.
Investigative journalism is a very different thing.
Like I call Jason Schreier a journalist.
Yeah, Jason Schreier, Tom Warren. There's a handful of very good, well-known, respected journalists. Stephen Totillo, like people that are outside, not just covering and reviewing games and that type of stuff. They're actually they're the people that companies hate and don't want to work with because they are finding out the dirt that they're into.
Yeah,
we don't do that. We're games coverers. We're not journalists. There you go. That's the nutshell. Okay, what about you? What's your favorite random encounter, moment, quest line? Pick whatever you fancy. What's your little thing that you really love that you've done?
That is difficult for me because that's a lot of that is spoilery. So
be vague if you can.
Yeah. I can definitely try and be vague about it. People say it starts off slow. I disagree. I love how it starts off. People say, "Oh, the first hour or two is just I really like. I can pull out moments from that beginning that like speak to me from a movie or from a game. And it is very, very good. I love all the various moments. I will say, because I'm a very big sci-fi guy, I can pull out lots of sci-fi moments. There is a quest line, a long quest line that maybe Jesse knows that really, really speaks to me about Firefly, the TV show Firefly.
I love
There's a long quest line where you're just a rootin' tootin' cowboy in space, and it's just wow, I love it. It's so good. It's pretty long, and at the end, when you succeed, they give you like a pretty awesome reward. You've been
I know the quest line.
Yeah, it's very, very good. It's very good, and if you have a chance to, like, it's one of those things where I was just like, oh, this is just awesome, and I just kept going and go. The storyline went from maybe 1 mission to 2 missions. I think at the end it was like 18 missions or something like that.
It's a full-on faction one, so it's real long.
It's really long.
It's a good reward at the end, though.
It's really cool reward. I go in, I clean my stuff up, I'm all happy about it, and the minute I'm in it, I'm just getting ready, then I get arrested for something vague. And let me be clear, me being arrested is a big deal because in this world I'm a bounty hunter. So even if I'm doing shady stuff, it's got to be to bad guys. Because if you're doing it to good guys, you're a bad guy yourself. You know.
Yeah.
So
fair.
I'm in there now, and now of course they've taken a hold of you, and you can't go out and do your stuff. And now I'm infiltrating the Crimson Fleet. So I'm on that one. They forced you to be on that quest line. So there I am. It's man, like it is something else, man. I don't know. Like I've spoken with a bunch of friends, we're talking about how we're approaching stuff. And if you just happen to go and approach the situation from one angle versus another, it could be the same story, same exact quest line, such vastly different outcomes. It's hilariously entertaining. Like, some people will meet one faction versus another faction. And because of that, it answers a different way. There's a quest line where we're gathering artifacts, right? I'll keep it vague, right? There's a quest line where you can't do anything but be a criminal to get this artifact, right?
I know the one.
He's literally standing there going like, all right, buddy, let's see what you can do about it. Like, all here, right? Yeah. So I'm like, all right, man, Boba Fett, let's go, right? So that's what I do. And then later on, I'm talking to a buddy of mine, and he's like, you do know there are like so many of these guys in the room you could have bribed, and this guy will tell you this, and this guy will tell you that, and at the end you'll just kind of skeet away without even touch.
Is it the guy with the bad hair you're talking about?
Yeah.
Love that guy. Guy. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just talked him into giving it to me.
Oh no!
Wow.
I talked him into giving it to me as well. But at the end, I talked him into showing me where it was, opening the thing, all of that. But of course, because I am a bounty hunter and I have that trait, you can't have any space scoundrel talking points, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of it all, my skill tree basically ended with, all right, homie, you're either a criminal or you're not leaving with this thing. That's where it ended for me. Whereas others had so many other options. I'm just like, oh man.
I tried for ages on that particular one to stealth my way in, and I found like I did a bunch, and then I couldn't find that last bit, and I didn't have enough lockpick skill. And I was like, damn! I ended up having a conversation. They don't tell you
how amazing that lockpick skill is.
Yeah, you've got to invest early.
That so bad.
There is nothing worse than doing a massive quest line and seeing like tons of master level safes and thinking, but I want to know what's in them. I need the loot.
Or you're like 18 steps deep into a 20-step thing, and all you need to do is to complete it is one lockpick, and you don't got it. Now you got to go search the entire damn galaxy for more lockpicks.
Yeah,
that's what it got me. Where I saw so many people say it's not a deep game and your choices don't matter, and it's like,
oh, they're ridiculous.
Incredibly deep. If you if you didn't save scum to see just how different would it be if I did this, how different would it be if I did that, and realize all these different opportunities come up based on the very important choices of skill trees and where you do and don't go. Like it all matters. It all interacts in the best version of a Bethesda game, because the last couple of games they had, the choices didn't matter nearly as much, and it was more linear, and you could just kind of get every skill up. And like Skyrim, you can just jump. Oh, you can jump. You got more stamina now. Like everything does matter more here. And I do think for people, it's like their first one. They're like, oh, I don't like the fact that you can't stealth unless you put a point in it, or you can't pick someone's pocket unless you put a point in it. And it's like, well, that's the type of stuff that Bethesda fans really wanted back, and that's why you're seeing it again, because it was kind of gone for a couple of games.
That's some of the weird criticism that I found like like odd is and you started the show, Kay, you were talking about, hey, this reminds me of No Man's Sky. And I see that a lot, and I understand why. It's a space game. There's procedural generation. You're flying from planet to planet, but there is and I can understand it if you're just an average gamer, right? And I know that when you're comparing it, you're comparing it on a visual, but you know that this is a Bethesda RPG. And there's so much stuff that's tracking and underlying systems, and to see it boiled down from people that are in effectively our position, but for big companies that are paid to do this, right? Yeah. And they just make these disingenuous comparative. Yeah, it's just like No Man's Sky. Oh, the loading. Like they talk about this loading. Loading has been a big thing, fast travel. And I'm like, well, hang on a second here. It's an RPG, boys and girls. Yeah. There's quests going back and forth. I guarantee you, if you have to keep seeing that loading fucking animation 50 times, you're going to go insane.
So it's shallow thinking. That's what that is. It's 100% shallow thinking, because I know people who also started comparing Starfield to Baldur's Gate 3, right? Because Baldur's Gate 3 also does very much that roll your own character, go as far off the beaten path as you want kind of thing that Starfield does. And in certain respects, right, Baldur's Gate 3 does it better. Certain respects, you get certain limitations that you can get to where Starfield will show you that, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 does it better, right? But at the end of the day, Baldur's Gate 3 is all about just that mechanic. That's all that Baldur's Gate 3 is there for, right? And No Man's Sky can let you walk in any direction around a whole planet in real time, but that's all you have, right? When you're talking about a game that literally can give you the No Man's Sky feeling, can give you the Baldur's Gate essence, can give you all these other systems, they have to snip some of the sides, nip and tuck to make it all kind of fit together, right? You can't expect a world where you can talk to some NPC for hours on end and then still, like, enter the atmosphere and spend 30 actual human real-time minutes getting to the surface. What's the point? You know what I mean? They want to get you up on the ground, off the ground, into space, so you can continue talking to your partners, right? Rather than giving you that solitary feel of, hey, I'm playing a No Man's Sky like, right? Yeah, it's not that simple. I 100% I made those comparisons, and I also will even say once I started playing the game myself, I made comparisons to Elite Dangerous. The way the resource doling system is, so much. But they just, and even in the stories, and I think, Jesse, you might be able to attest, some of the side quests are pulled literally from some of your favorite Star Trek shows or your favorite movies. Like, it is beat for beat. They're paying homage to all the generation
ship.
Exactly. Yes. I'll even say the very first ship you get as part of this kind of pays homage to Firefly a little bit in its hodgepodge nature and how it shoots off the ground. It's very much like
I've got to give a shout out to one of our guys. He actually has built Firefly, like the Serenity in.
Oh, that's awesome.
It looks really good.
I need to see that. Yes,
I'll see if I can find the screenshot. Maybe Jesse can find it in the Discord.
I've seen the one where somebody built the magic school bus from our olden days. Like, hilarious, man. This is amazing.
This is the stuff that I love.
I've played for 3 days and change, and I haven't even delved even a tiny bit into rebuilding my ship or creating a world or whatever. I'm saving that for New Game Plus. It's just that deep. There's just so much to still do,
Yeah, I'm loving it. And like one of my favorite quests that I've come across so far, like, not only am I not an RPG guy, I'm also most assuredly not a horror guy. So imagine my extreme displeasure when I go off on a little quest to deliver some goods to some colonists, and I get there and I'm like, everyone's dead. And then I'm told that there's this fucking horrific alien creature, right? And then this person gives me this thing, and then I'm out there, and what do I get? Aliens. Beep 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 beep. It's closer, and I'm like, I get up really high, and I'm like, I'm a wuss. I can't do being chased by giant fucking beasties. I cannot do it. But man, that whole quest line, and then the decisions that I made at the end, and now, like, I made what I thought was the right decision, but like half my crew are like, can I talk to you about that? Like, bro, that wasn't a cool decision. And I'm like, but dude, I'm trying to explain myself. And you find yourself like almost like getting your back up a bit. Like, no, I'm right. Like, this is my call. Yeah, it's stuff like that I was really surprised at how much I have enjoyed embodying, my kind of self. And there are moments now where I'm like, oh, second playthrough I'm going to be an asshole. Like, I'm going to be a murdering everyone piece of shit. Like, I've done a very goody two shoes playthrough because, I think similar to Jesse,
your main crew members will not like you if you're an asshole. So definitely take the extrovert perk and play by yourself and have no companion. Yeah. They won't like you. It would be really fun to see you, John, play the game I'm playing right now. Oh, the girlish screams that would come out of you.
I hear Sarah is such a pearl clutcher. When you,
she is.
When you play.
She's Sarah Dixon. I can't believe you did that.
Oh, it's just horrible,
I am really pissed off with you.
She seems quite. You can give me that answer. She seems quite British. Am I wrong?
She's
in that?
Super British, haughty as fuck,
and she was military. So
there you go.
But like, I know, we're sitting here talking about all the Starfield stuff, like in terms of what we've been playing. Jesse, you've been playing something else now, right? I know you can't talk about it much.
So this month, a lot. This month's coverage from the site should be real good. We're hoping to get Mortal Kombat in. I don't know if we'll make the cut or not. We'll see. There's that one coming. There's the Crew Motorfest coming. I haven't heard from Ubisoft in a long time because they haven't put anything out in forever. So hopefully we get the Crew. I'm working on Lies of P, and I'll be working on Solar Ash. I'm trying to make it so we hit everything that's on Game Pass. So
I'm doing Cocoon.
Yeah, you're doing Cocoon. I want to do the Lamplighters League. There's so much stuff coming out. Like, everyone's talking about Starfield. Like, I haven't played. I've played like 2 hours on a stream the other night. That's literally all I've been able to play since embargo because I immediately got into another review, and then there's like 15 more coming this year. So
it's insane.
Yeah, it's and we didn't make. If anyone's wondering, we did not make the list for Forza Motorsport previews. So
I talked a little bit about
next week
about that last time. I don't know what. This is what I mean. Like, oh, you guys are paid by Microsoft. Microsoft were like, Forza Motorsport, XboxEra? Who are those guys? We don't know you. I don't know that guy. It's the luck of the draw. We've not got preview access. We'll have a review, no doubt. Yeah. But I don't know what happened there. I have expressed my displeasure. Like, come on, like, clues in the name, guys. Help us out here. But hey, there's loads coming. We
didn't even get any of the cool Starfield swag that like 9 million other people got. Not a thing.
Not a sausage. So, like, they're paid for reviews. No, they're genuinely just our thoughts on the games.
I mean, I did get this new headset here that just came out, but I mean, it is for review. So people say, "Oh, you're being paid." It's like, well, I've only been using this controller from friggin' whatever they're called, Scuff, for weeks because I'm reviewing it. That's the way it goes. Sometimes you get things.
Yeah, sometimes you have to give them back, which is unfortunate. But
all the laptops I did had to go back. Not this chair though.
No, the people that sent me this chair are very strange. Like, I wrote to them, I've emailed them like 5 times. I'm like, can you give me some resources? Like, give me some promo shots. Like, when? And I just didn't want to communicate. It's like, okay, thanks for the chair. Like, help me out here. But anyways, chat, you guys are lovely. Love you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Let us know your favorite Starfield stories if you have them. We are reading. Before we get into the news, I know that we're going to need to power up. And Jesse, have you had your breakfast or lunch or dinner this evening? Like, what do you?
Yeah, see, unlike Nick, it's nowhere near breakfast for me, but I did have a little more of this. I'm really conserving it because it's so good. But this bag's a little smaller now when it's their like version 2 stuff. But oh my god, this shake from Control in their new, I think, copyright or the trademark tumbler with this nice little whisk inside there. It's one of the only. So everyone knows that Nick is just wrong
about
all the time. Many things. He's pretty much never right. The one time he has been correct is with this Control. It is. I'm not a big meal shake or meal replacement guy. They normally taste like ass. Control does not. It tastes very good.
Yeah, head to drinkcontrol.com, use our code XboxEra to get 10% off your order.
And that is drinkctrl.com.
Lovely. Anyway, gaming news, video game news and stuff.
Just a little bit of it.
There's quite a bit, but nothing crazy. But I'm going to do the last bit of Starfield news, which is the concurrent players piece. So we'll touch on that, and then we can move on everything else.
Yeah, there was total players and concurrent both,
but not a rumor mill because I think you pressed the wrong button.
Oh, yeah, cat is on my hand. I literally just went to hit the news,
not the rumor mill. Nick's not here.
Yeah, don't worry, Xbox, no rumor mill.
Starfield hit 1 million concurrent players on Wednesday across Xbox, Xbox and PC and Steam. And then they announced they've had 6 million players since when?
Early access.
It was
around the same time, I think. It was like Monday or Tuesday or something. Or I forget.
It cracked me up. There was 1 million. And again, I think one of the headlines, this is the hilarity of all the ridiculous drama, is they announced 1 million players. It's perfectly fine. Great. Congratulations. That's a lot of people. And then boom, we get a headline of, what was it? I know who they were. I've got it here. Is 1 million concurrent players a lot? Like the man said, it depends on context. It's why is that got to be an article? Why can't you just, I don't understand why everything has to have some sort of negative opinion injected into it. Why can't you just say...
It was also, I saw people I know and were like, well, that's to be expected. Was it? I don't know. You never know. It's a new IP. It's a big company. Bethesda Game Studios has a game that sold 60 million plus copies, but you never know. It's a $70 game, brand new IP, no history on that, but it broke 1 million despite being, exclusive on one console platform and being available on PC. But that, I guess you can expect it, but I was surprised that people were just so flippant about it.
Yeah. It's a weird one, but yeah, I mean, congratulations to Bethesda. Regardless, and that the crazy thing about all of the score discourses is that, frankly, the lower scores are kind of the outliers for the majority. What is it? An 85 on Metacritic now?
It's on Metacritic, yeah, 85. It's 88 on OpenCritic. I think is better because it just is a one hopper instead of breaking it down by platform.
Yeah, it doesn't wait.
It's weird because the bigger publications carry so much influence that people are like, oh, it's kind of reviewing kind of all over the place. I'm like, no, it's really not. There's, I mean, if you look at people wouldn't say the reviews are all over the place for a really good game like Ghost of Tsushima, which is that's an 84, and that was very well reviewed.
Yep.
Once you're in the mid to upper 80s, it's really good. There are only certain games now that can seem to break the 90s. Almost all of them tend to be Japanese devs. No idea why, honestly. I look at Resident Evil 4 Remake, I'm like, man, that was really good. I'd probably give that an 8.5, but that one's a 92. I'm shocked at it. But then Dead Space Remake, which I think is just as good, if not a lot better, is 87 or 88 or something. It's scores are dumb. In the end, scores are stupid. Dumb. The focus on scores is extremely stupid. The text matters. I wrote 3,300 words on why I really enjoyed Redfall, but it didn't matter. People just looked at the score, which is funny because I was called an outlier on Redfall, where I wasn't the highest by far, and there were a bunch of people around me, including VG247 at the exact same score. And then I was called an outlier on Armored Core, where sure, I'm at the lower end, but there was actually 10 people lower than me and a bunch of people at the same as me, including VG247. Again, it's just because we have Xbox in our name and because Nick is so punchable, people just look at us and they want to complain and say we're fanboys and pot and fade for. It's no, we didn't start the channel and call it XboxEra because we're fanboys. We saw a gap in dedicated coverage and thought, hey, maybe we can do that, and it's been pretty successful, so I think we could. It's not about fanboyism like someone like Luke Plunkett likes to push on Twitter, where it's oh, you only care if they've got Xbox in their name. It's no, those, DualShockers and PlayStation Lifestyle and XboxEra and Mondo Xbox, it's a gap in coverage people are trying to fill. It's not fanboys trying to pump up a channel. It's like, just because you made it, you're in a big publication, doesn't mean the moment idiot fanboys are treating you like shit, you need to start sideswiping smaller creators for no reason. That's the thing that's always the most disappointing, where it's like, we don't jump into that discourse. I mean, Nick does, but everyone knows he's dumb. Like, we don't, as a publication, jump into that discourse. We try to be positive because gaming is
fun.
Okay, I gotta read this. So this, like, we weren't the outlier. I'm not the lowest score. There's like 10 lower scores than me. I'm not the outlier.
But
again,
you know, why
on Armored Core 6
to poop on?
It's like, I understand. I got all 3 endings, and that 3rd ending took me for fucking ever in Armored Core 6. I got all the endings. I understood the gameplay loop. I didn't find the game overly hard. I just found it really boring to have to keep redoing stuff over and over again to get a very specific build. And I did know, after the game's out and there are guides, you can beat it a lot faster because now you know exactly what to do because someone told you. But the actual act of reviewing it and having to play it that way, it just wasn't fun. The gameplay itself could be really fun. The story by the end could be pretty interesting. But for the 30 hours I played it, I enjoyed like 3 or 4. So that's why I gave it the score. And that's not being an outlier when there's a bunch lower than me. You can say you're on the lower end, and you'd be correct. I was. But I'm also on the higher end on certain things. And then people call me a shill who just loves everything. Like, the discourse around reviews always focuses on scores. And in the end, scores suck. I hate them.
Yeah.
So, question from me. I know that the whole idea with meta becomes a whole meta narrative in and of itself. There have been those who say that maybe meta should like require certain guardrails for review systems, like a 10-point scale versus a 5-point, and maybe that would clean out the outliers and all that. What do you guys think about that one?
I think it needs, so if you want to be, I would really like it if OpenCritic.
We can't be too transparent on the process for Metacritic, just FYI.
Well, I mean, for all of them, so for OpenCritic, anyone can put their website on it. You can just sign up and you can get your score listed. But it doesn't matter for the score, but you don't count for the score or for the recommendation unless they have determined you're a top critic. I have no idea how they do that. I've never been able to find out. I've emailed and asked multiple times. With Metacritic, you have to be an approved site that they choose to list. That's why you just don't see everyone there. And they handle everything. You just let them, they'll either scrape your site, your review section, or with bigger games, they'll say, hey, do you have a score for this one? Yeah, that type of stuff. Like, just pretty easy. As far as like an actual, like a 5 out of 5 is not a 10 out of 10. It's not 100 out of 100. Everything, and if you're going to do scores and scores matter, I don't think 5 points has enough nuance. I don't even think 10 points has enough nuance, because everything, like IGN's have articles about why do we give everything a 7? It's like, well, it's not worth reviewing things that are worse. And it's like, fine, I get it. But you guys still just default to 7, which is why people don't see 7 as a good. They see 7 as a mediocre.
The lowest score you're going to give.
Yeah, it's the normal score. You give something that's okay, and it's all right. If it's bad, you'll go lower. But so that's why we do 100. But even then, it's like, why is it a 9.7, not a 9.8, not a 9.6, not a 9.5? It's all you just yank it out of your ass. There's no. It's just a feeling. So in the end, it would be really nice if there was some sort of group that would go over and just make a determination. Okay, from this point on. And it would have to like be a separate section for Metacritic and OpenCritic. From this point on, this is what a 5 actually means. This is what a 6 actually means. Like, and then have it so you're all doing a 100-point system, or you're all doing a like 20-point system with 0.5s, whatever that ends up being. Like at least 9, 9.5, 10, 8.5, 8. Like,
so what you're saying is there is a world where this as a status quo could still work better rather than killing it all whole cloth. If they
people want the quick hit of scores.
It or something. Yeah. Okay.
People and PR want scores. That's why they are so important. But it's like scores are the thing that will just get you that quick hit. And if someone, that's a game I was interested in, you gave it an 8. I'm going to watch this now. Like it can be that thing that pulls them in, because now they're like, oh man, I was really interested in this. And then, this person gave this huge release a 4. Maybe I'll watch their video now. Like, having the score is the initial pull.
And it works, like that's one of the reasons we pushed to get onto Metacritic and OpenCritic. It's like we're a tiny site, and if we had the choice, we wouldn't have scores at all. We would chuck them in the bin, right? And it blows my mind. And I think you're seeing this is the industry that has to kowtow to this a little bit, right? You're a gamer, no scores for ages. Why have they gone back? Because they need the fucking clicks. They need to be able to, say, 2 out of 5, and then boom. Oh, why? They've dragged the game. Let's go click on the link. Oh,
if you're not first party, like if you're smaller and you're an indie dev or even the smaller publishers, you get a set amount of keys. You're generally going to give them to the places that can influence the Metacritic and OpenCritic score because it doesn't matter so much for you. So like the moment we got on Metacritic, I have had infinitely more luck, especially with bigger publishers like EA and stuff, of getting codes finally. We were always on the creator launch list. We would get their games at launch. Now we get them early because we matter more for their bottom line, because the end thing is for them, like stuff like this, getting sent a $250 headset, it's a marketing cost. They are giving away product for marketing, and we participate in the marketing, but they don't get any editorial on it. So that's why it's still trustworthy. There are definitely places and stories and things, and the Rotten Tomatoes controversy I saw in chat where there is control over editorial, and that's when it's horrific. And that's what people just think is happening all the time. And boy, I wish we were getting paid more. Not for payola for reviews, but like there's not a bunch of money going around in the industry. It's why we're Patreon and occasional YouTube ad money funded. Like
if you want to make money, games journalism is not the path to take. I'm just saying, like there's no cash in it, and there's no cash in it because the whole nature of look, I can assure you that all of the IGN folks like, fuck, that streamer makes more money than us in a month than we do.
It was the Facebook effect where Facebook was fudging their video numbers, and every site said, oh, we got to just drop articles and go to video, and it's never recovered because the truth was people actually really like articles, and every time they just scrolled by or a video played automatically, they were getting, oh, that person watched it, and like, no, they didn't. But I remember Jez's Ivory Tower comment, and everyone's like, we don't make any money. What do you mean Ivory Tower? And it wasn't Ivory Tower that you're all rich. It's that you don't have to scrap for access anymore. You are at a place where you just, and you saw it with the Starfield review codes, you just expect it. You're so big and you're so influential, you just expect to get everything. Like IGN they get a bunch of codes where we have to scrap and struggle to get one. Starfield was an exception. We got 3 because I asked nicely and the PR company really likes us. But they're in a position where they are so used to always getting access that if they see smaller sites get it and they don't, it just ended up leading to a lot of the just childish behavior that we saw.
Entitled tweeting and dog writing and curl clutching and waving the fingers in the air.
There is no positive to being shitty online towards other people in your industry. There's just there is none. I'm constantly like shocked at people that have been working for huge companies that just feel perfectly fine massively putting down or insulting others who aren't in the higher position that they are. It's like you are punching down in the way that you're saying is bad in other areas when, shitty fans are being assholes to your friends shocking. Online.
Like we're dragged constantly because we're called XboxEra. Like, and look, we don't give a shit because we've got thicker skin than that, but it's more, it's like the reason we exist is because like you go to these big places and you listen to the conversation. They don't know how many developers or what studios are working on what. They just, because they don't have to know because they're all playing on the fucking market leader, and like, and I'm loving. And
once the games are closer, they'll just get an extra code and be able to play it whenever they want.
Yeah. It's bizarre, but God, we went on a tangent there. But look, hey, this is the industry that we're in. We're trying to do our best for you guys and for the community, and we'll continue to do so.
My wife is like, you don't need to beat that game to review it, and every time I'm like, no, yeah, I should. If I can, if it's a game that can be beaten, or if I have enough time, I will always try and beat it because the only reason people come is because they can trust that, yeah, they did actually play all of that. And we've had issues in the past where there were potential things where that didn't happen and they were just immediately cut away, gone. And it's like, you have to have that trust. And I think a lot of the bigger sites just kind of expect to have that trust from people, and they get very, very mad when they don't because they're not used to it.
Yeah.
So anyway. I will quickly say, I will put in there, there's a reason why I am a staunch follower of Jesse and his reviews. The man is about that gaming life. You may agree or not agree, but he will give you the receipts. I see the games played, sir. So after he's played them and he tells me that it is what it is, I have no choice but to relax and believe that is his opinion on it. I'm always watching your reviews. You, even though you correctly pointed out ahead of time, spoiled a little bit of Starfield for me. You did. But I knew where you were going, and I thought you were right. And because of that, I've been playing it religiously since then. You know, I'm preaching the choir here. Everyone who's watching this knows why they watch this. You know, never change, sir. Even when you are the outlier, it is perfect the way you guys do it. You know, absolutely.
That's the thing. Like, read the text. All right, the text is the important bit. Like, I get it. You want the drama of the score, but really, the score doesn't matter. Find the reviewers that you align with. Understand their approach to games, and if that's your approach to games, listen to what they've got to say.
I have a fundamental difference for us, I think. So for Dan Stapleton and IGN has talked about before their philosophy of they're not there to write you a guide. They're there to just give you their take on their experience. But for me, I think I prefer both. But I don't have to do the volume they have to do. Like they're doing like 30 a week across various media. But having that mix of the objective, which people think reviews can be objective, they cannot. The objective fact of what this product is, how it works, that type of stuff. Making sure that's all in there, the guide part, so that even if you don't agree with the review, which is always subjective, it is your personal take on your experience with the thing. And people are like, well, you're biased. You can't be objective on it. It's like, yeah, of course, I'm a human being. And the actual nature of a review should be a good, healthy mix of objective fact and subjective opinion on what that product made you feel in your time with it. And so that's where we go for. And I think that's just not something you see all the time because others just have a different philosophy. So if you're fine with theirs, you go with theirs. If you like our more all-encompassing approach, then I think, that's why they've started to do pretty well.
I just love the different voices that we've got across the team that we have, because they all have their own methods of reviewing games. Like typically when I write a review, I'm a little bit more arty-farty. Like I don't focus so much on the, the all-encompassing like guide-like.
I did go artsy-fartsy once with Pentiment.
Yeah, Pentiment is very arty-farty, but I love that we have that mix. So, and hopefully the community does too, because you guys are awesome. And you keep us being able to do what we do and get to the point where, we are going to be one of the bigger outlets out there. That's the ambition.
Like, we're not fanboys. We literally have
a lot.
We have a massive Halo fan and a massive Nintendo fan that started the channel. But then, like, I like everything. Genghis is more of a weeb. Fairy likes everything. Harmonica just kind of really loved indie games. It's just a bunch of guys and my wife and
playing games
that liked things and wanted to cover them well. And we have Xbox in the name just to make it very clear that yes, we focus on this one platform because it's impossible to keep up with one, let alone four. So
yeah, can you imagine if we were everything era? Fuck me, we'd never get anything done.
We have done a couple of PlayStation and one Switch only reviews because Genghis really wanted the games, and so I got them for him.
Anyways, let's get into the news chit chat. In sad news to start with, a game that I'm personally desperate to play it, Replaced, has been delayed to 2024. I get it. I understand.
I thought it had been already. We hadn't heard about it.
The fact that they were very quiet, I was like, it's not coming out this year. But it's been delayed. I don't think there's what's the famous phrase? A delayed game can be good. A rush game, is forever bad, whatever the phrase is. Take your time, guys. There's so much coming out this year. I'm almost a bit glad.
You never said the game, by the way.
replaced. I did save the game.
Did you?
Yeah,
I didn't hear it.
several times. Definitely. Promise.
Yes, he did.
But
Yes, he did. I heard him.
It's Sad Cat Studios. It's published by Thunderful and Coatsink, I think. They were quite honest. They were like, we're really wanting to make sure that everything is as good as we can make it. And honestly, it's one of those games where I'm like, that's going to be worth the wait. Like, you're going to get that, and it's going to be hopefully very, very good. But we'll find out in 2024. I read that in the chat, Jesse. You better not be tuning me out. And then, in other interesting news, Stray.
Interesting news, we have not yet asked for likes.
Oh my god, that's true.
Yeah, I know. 180 people watching, 67
there's obviously
likes.
We've got 180 likes. What? 67?
Mm-hmm.
Chat. Come on, guys.
I get people being annoyed. So if you want to know how YouTube works, it's generally not views. Views are the lowest thing that matter for them. It's engagement, which includes watch time, and do you chat? Do you like? Even do you dislike? People are like, oh, I'm going to dislike you, and that's going to hurt your channel. And in YouTube's mind, that helps the channel, but it does change your personal algorithm, so you might see that channel's videos less. But if you think you're hurting the channel, you're not. But yeah, any interaction you do with YouTube, whether it's just viewing us, shooting the shit, whether it's hitting the like button, whether it's subscribing, it all matters. So thank you.
Yeah, and we do appreciate it. And obviously, if you want to take that, appreciation of everything XboxEra does.
What the hell's a fan they?
Clicking a thumbs up. Head to Patreon.
Are you a fan they, John?
Am I a fat what? You are fan theys. Oh, for goodness sake. Is this trying to get all pronoun-y bullshit? Is this
Probably.
What, Sean, are we upset that someone might be questioning what gender you are?
Did you see that clip with the guy flipping out over the pronoun thing?
Yeah,
or no, the trans character thing. And then right as he's saying that, they're like, are you in your feelings right now? And it just makes him flip out even more. Oh, it's the best timing ever.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
And the funny thing with the Starfield discourse around pronouns is it defaults to, he or she, depending if you choose the masculine or feminine body. You have to click in and go and change it and notice, oh, there's they, them. It's like, it does just default. You're looking for outrage bait.
Okay. I'm trusting you, Sean. It's sarcasm.
I trust you on this one, Sean.
Trusting you, bro. I was hovering.
Sarcasm is tough in text.
True, very true.
Oh, man.
Bold, only the bold
attempt it. Man. Just let people do whatever they want to fucking do. It doesn't matter. Honest to God. But yeah, hit that like button because, we love you. Love us back. We need the validation on the internet. Stray recently came to Xbox. I'm about halfway through it. I did stop and Starfield has taken over my life. So, I will go back to it.
It's an all right experience, right? It's nice. It's pretty.
Fine. It's fine. It's a cool world that they kind of come up with.
It is bullshit that it is classified as an indie. Annapurna is not an indie studio. They are very big.
Massive.
Indies at the Game Awards are not indies. They're just huge publications or huge publishers that put out games that weren't AAA title budget wise. Like Dave the Diver is, I think Nexon owns the dev. It's like that. Okay, that's a rant from me. I'm playing Nick today, I guess. Every time I hear indie and Stray won best indie, and it's like, it's not an indie. It's a big publisher with a lot.
So what you're saying is they're as indie as, let's say, Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, they're about as indie as that.
Well,
it's indie
Microsoft's $2 trillion is more than anyone.
Yeah,
but yes, if they can win an indie award, so can Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, I love this. I'm gonna have to show it. Annapurna is triple I.
Triple I. Yes, there you go. Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
And by the way, whenever Stray comes up, I must say, next year on Game Pass is a game coming called Little Kitty Big City. It had a demo last year, or it had a demo this year. It rules. It is the actual awesome, fun cat simulator type game that I think people were hoping Stray was more.
Yeah, and I have to say, I played it at Gamescom, Little Kitty Big City, and I gave some feedback to the dev. Like, I'll be honest, like I was like, initially when you start, I'm like, it's not super clear how this all works. Like, there's a little bit of work I think that needs to be done to just.
It's a big sandbox game.
Yeah, but just in terms of how to be a cat. Like, I know it feels like, well, it's just intuitive, but the way Little Kitty Big City does it is you've got individual control of the paws.
Oh wow! Okay.
Right. So,
okay.
and when you want to jump, it's kind of like almost like an RPG mechanic. So initially, you've got a really short jump, but you have to do the whole. I'm going to aim, and you'll get like a little dot to tell you where you're going to jump to, and then you can release and you jump. But if you haven't leveled up enough, you can't do crazy jumps. So there's a bit of puzzle, kind of how do I get up there? But they do the great things because you've got individual control of the paws. You're up on the shelf, and there's all the plants. You can be like meow, 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 just knocking stuff off like a jerk, which is what cats do.
Cool.
But yeah, it's a great little game. I'm looking forward to it coming out. But yes, Stray, effectively, Annapurna liked it so much that they look to be developing a feature adaptation of the game as an animation. So Annapurna Animation is going to do some stuff with that. I think with the director of Nimona, which I think was that the Netflix movie Nimona? Am I getting that right? Nimona? I might be getting confused here. No, it's not. It's something. No, it did. It released on globally via Netflix. So this is the one with Chloe Grace Moretz as like a transforming girl. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. Like my kids loved it. Interestingly enough, probably upset all of those people that got upset at pronouns because it's got an openly gay hero in it.
I remember the show. I remember it's based off a book.
And they're like, oh no, I can imagine all the pearl clutching going on. My children, what would they think? Do you know what my kids thought? Cool. This is really fun. They didn't think I like boys now. You know, like that's not how it works, people. It's fucking nuts. Anyways, hooray for Stray. Good for them. For Stray. Hooray for Stray. What else? Xbox, the September dashboard update is on its way. And I think the big thing from this is you'll be able to stream games to Discord. So I know that we do this a bunch on the XboxEra Discord. You know, like Jesse might sometimes stream some games as he's playing, as well as streaming to YouTube. Cool. I like more options for people. I don't think it's something I would use. I don't know, Kay, would you stream to Discord particularly?
When it comes to Discord, I'm a bit of a graybeard. I love my tech. I don't like Discord. I can't help myself. I can't. Just the interface just doesn't do it for me. I can use it. I have used it. It's just not my thing. Although I will say, if this somehow works out and then streamlines the process of having multiple people stream games and maybe play games on stream while being able to play as Discord becomes the focal point, maybe that makes it useful, you know? Because we're looking to try and do that, like a community thing where we're all here and we're all playing and you can also see our stream as well, you know? Maybe that'll make it useful. But yeah, as just the thing tool for that, maybe that's where it's best.
A lot of the young kids also, it's their hangout and they'll all just hang out there and show each other the gameplay and stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, man, gray beards, baby. It is what it is. Sometimes you just can't.
You're rocking yours with so much more class than me, though, dude.
Stop! Like, no. This is just.
You've got the full-on badger stripe. Like I'm just like.
Some people like accuse me of being Kratos. I was like, no, stop that.
Oh man! Well, there is another piece of news with it as well. They've got an update for VRR displays for Xbox Series X and S consoles. So
cool.
You can now go in there and choose how you want VRR enabled. So does it always on? Is it only on for when you're playing games, or do you want to switch?
Yeah, because it can look better if depending on your TV, picture quality can degrade if you got it on. So it's nice to not have it on if you're just watching a movie or something.
Yeah. So yeah, cool. Always nice to see some extra updates. Speaking of updates, Jedi Survivors, a game that I'm patiently awaiting for it to arrive in like January or whatever onto EA Play, so that I can then play it in the Christmas lull after all the big
year
games
normally.
This year.
So
when did it come out? May?
I think so.
Yeah, so maybe I'm waiting a little while longer than that.
Nope.
You will.
But its performance update is out, and it is a locked 60 on console now across everything.
They turned off the ray traced reflections. That was the consoles could not handle that. No. So it's hideous compared to if you do it 1-to-1, it looks a lot worse, but it's smoother.
I'll tell you, on PC even, it wasn't greatly optimized for many, many, many months. I could not play that thing well. What was it like? It took maybe 3-4 months before I could even play it smoothly for more than 30 minutes on the ROG Ally because it just kept crashing every 15 minutes. They're still working on it. It's a great game. It's really
that's
good.
the thing, and this is. It's so funny seeing bugs and stuff criticized and how some studios will be given a pass, and then you see
while others are raked over the coals.
Raked over the coals for it. And I'm like, yeah, but like the reason this game has these kinds of bugs is because you can go in and just follow this story, or you could go in and kill everyone, or you could go in and steal everything, or you could go in and put buckets on the head and steal everything, or you could go in and kill some of the people and then pay the bounty and then go back and then those people would remain dead forever. There's no acknowledgement of the type of product that it is. It's a buggy mess. But half the time,
one of the things that got me is the people saying the physics weren't good. I'm like, well, then you didn't mess around with them because
the potato
some of the
GIF
best
came
of all
out.
time. Yeah,
the potato GIF came out and put all the physics talk to bed for Starfield. Bless it. Elsewhere in news, Alone in the Dark has wisely delayed its release,
and they just straight out said why. They're like, October's too busy. We're going to go to January, which is awesome for me.
Yeah, thank God for that.
I hope more go from October to November and December and January.
Weren't they like really competing with Alan Wake at that time? I was like, who's going to eat whose lunch on that one? That was
even Alan Wake blinked. Alan Wake blinked from Spider-Man and went back 10 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Now, Spider-Man won't blink, but when we all know what's going to happen. They're going to get owned by the monster that is Mario Wonder, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see how Spider-Man 2 does. Because it's aside from Final Fantasy,
it's their one first-party game this year, so I'm guessing it'll probably do really well.
I'm looking forward to reading the PlayStation drought. Why have PlayStation had a bad 2023 articles?
They paid for Final Fantasy, which turned out well for them.
XboxEra is unusually salty today. I'm loving this.
I just find it, if you're going to have the energy, hold that same energy throughout. Let's treat all parties equally. You know what I mean?
Well, there's always
the
feeling. There's the feeling in coverage and stuff that Xbox just hasn't had much lately. And like I've even heard people say like they haven't really had anything for 10 years. I'm like, what do you mean? They have. It might not be for you. It might not get the Metacritic scores other do, but they've had a lot of great, like every platform's done really well. But the difference with Xbox right now is they started last gen really well. Like 2013, first couple of years were great. Then they lost funding, closing studios, almost shut down. Phil takes over. 2017, he sells Satya on it. They start building back up. But Nintendo and Sony were just chugging along, doing what they do as well as they do it, not having to rebuild. Yet, Sony has still not, like 2021, they had two things that were smaller in scope for them. Then 2022, great. Then, and even 2020 was more, we're going to call things PlayStation 5 only so that we can say we have next gen exclusives and we believe in generations and all that. It's like, they know how to play the marketing game. Whereas Xbox was like, oh, we'll spend a ton of work and essentially rebuild Gears 5 for next gen. But that doesn't have the same oomph as if they had just delayed it for a year and made it a next gen only game. So it just ends up being so many people are just
on that decision, I advocated for Hivebusters being a standalone product. That would have been so much bigger. It would have been such a bigger bite of that apple. If it would have just been next gen, or Gears Tactics, another game that's so good that was just missed.
Released about 6 months, 6 months early on PC.
I could have held
when it comes to console. Yeah, it's like
it should have held that.
But in the end, they know the metrics too. Like, so was it better in their eyes? Was it worse? Like, I know the public perception and the way things go matter. Like, it matters to us in our bubble. But then I always realize, well, they're the ones that actually have the numbers. They know what they've sold. They know what they've made. They know what they have coming. They know what they don't have coming. So in the end, it's like we can make suggestions, but we don't have enough information to ever say they definitely should have done that on everything. There's things I think we can feel pretty confident about, but it's maddening. And it'll never change the lack of transparency because because they're publicly traded companies.
Yeah, I'm very curious now. Like, there was a quote earlier this week last week about Starfield is the starting gun. I think it was from the chief marketing officer or something like that. Some interview. Starfield's the starting gun of this cadence being hit now that Phil spoke about when he was a guest on the show. He was like, I want a big Xbox first party release every quarter. And I'm like, okay, so we've got Starfield, and then we've got the Forza previews dropping on Monday. Then we've got the game coming out later on. And then we're in the run up to Christmas. We've got all the other big AAA stuff dropping for Christmas period. Then in January is going to hit, like rewind. Like the year is going by fast. When was the developer direct where we got the surprise? Here's Hi-Fi Rush. That was January this year. Like, so, what are we going to see this time? Is it going to be Hellblade 2 first up? I think so. I hope so. Like, I'm super keen.
Well, they'll probably be back at the Game Awards this year, I think, too.
Oh,
that's true. Yeah,
and
hit me up with
one
some
of our
delicious Perfect Dark gameplay footage.
One of our final stories is just like, so they've been at almost everything this year. They were at Gamescom. They had stuff. Yep. They were at Summer Game Fest. They were at One Night Live. They're going to be at the thing we'll talk about in a little bit. I imagine. Yep. Yeah, though they're going to. I bet you they're at. So Hellblade's already been there twice. It would be very funny if it was there again. It's been like 2 or 3 times. If it could have a date this time, I think it would be okay. If they
I think you'll see Perfect Dark before Hellblade at Game Awards. I think Perfect Dark is the perfect thing to show off some gameplay award for, especially if it's genre bending. Like if they're doing something in that first person space that it's going to surprise and delight, blow some minds with it.
If you've got a lot of big Nintendo fans who love Pokemon, what if you've got Everwild ready to finally show again?
What if the other 100 people that are watching that haven't hit the like button hit the like button? What if that'd
be nice
at the Game Awards? I'd be impressed.
If they don't hit it until then, it's not going to help that much. That's like 3 months away.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Oh, what else? This is an interesting one, and I've heard lots of things. I've heard some people saying, "Oh, it's really good." I've heard lots of people saying it's really boring and terrible. Skull and Bones, Choppy Waters once again loses its 3rd creative director. Now, it's being framed negatively. I don't think, and keep me honest here, they could have just had their contract up and they've come in, they've done their job and they've left, right? Yeah. So when publications say, "Oh, they've lost," have they lost, or is it just
par for the course?
They've got to moved on. But yeah, and I think that's what the publisher says. It's like, hey, yeah, they've done their job. Now the vision's complete and they've moved on. So that's how it's being framed. But I've heard from people that have been in the closed testing that it is not fun, and that is a big problem in a game. Got to be fun, people. It's so
I've heard
funny.
the same. A lot of people that I know who have been part of the closed are like, this one should just kind of be let go. Unfortunately, it's not where, and it keeps not being fun.
It cannot be let go. They have a government contract with Singapore. They cannot cancel the game.
Yeah, it's so funny though. Rewind and remember when they announced this, everyone was like, Sea of Thieves, you're gonna die. It's the Sea of Thieves killer. 5 years later, still not out. You should have just taken the good bits from Black Flag and made that game. Give me a pirate.
Do we think that there will be a Black Flag remake before this game actually releases? There might be.
At this rate, it would surprise me. I loved Black Flag, except when I had to do the Assassin's Creed stuff. I loved everything else. All the pirate stuff I loved. And I was like, they should make a full game that deals in this stuff.
My question is, where's Beyond Good and Evil 2? I actually bought into that. That's the one I want to see. And if this is having the same issues as that is, I hope I don't see them go the way of Volition. I'm sorry.
Oh man, yeah. Ubisoft are weird. They're persevering though, and I've got to give them that. Like they're desperate to try and see this through, but I can't help but feel it was going to land with a whimper rather than a big splash. But we'll see. Yeah, Splinter Cell in the chat. Zach Riley. Yep, that's what we really need.
And that was an announcement that we're going to start working on it. Not that it's being worked, that it's anywhere close. I was like, we want to start hiring people. So, hey, we're starting up Splinter Cell. You want to work on that franchise? Come apply.
Didn't they then announce and then cancel a VR version of that game of Splinter Cell?
I think
there was going to be a VR version. And as a VR head, I was like, oh, this is amazing. People want. And then they canceled that. And now there's a remake of We need to see Splinter Cell come back before Michael Ironside can no longer do the voice.
I
we
know.
Need to see that.
I saw him in Nobody. You've seen Nobody?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Ironside, he's chonked up a bit, isn't he?
Yeah.
Age, it gets us all in the end.
He got a lot of health issues.
He's the same age as what's his name, the gentleman from Halo, the voice actor, same age, but unfortunately one is not going as well as the other. So unfortunately,
he's such a cool dude. Like I loved him in Total Recall as well.
So cool. Like you need him in the next one. You need him in the next one.
Yeah.
I hope they work it out.
He's got the voice of Sam. Like he has to be in it. So fingers crossed they do get there. Blimey. What else? Some little bits. So Game Pass had a big update this week. Obviously, Starfield arrived on the Game Pass subscription service, along with Greece making its return. Solar Ash is on its way. It's not here yet, I don't think. It's due later on this month. We've got Lies of P coming out as well, which is obviously big, very pretty, Souls-like for those that love those games.
That one comes on the 19th, but you can get it 3 days early if you buy the deluxe edition, which just gets you some. So they're the 3 days early, and you get some cosmetics version of early access, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's not like an expansion or actual game content like Cars and Forza. So, but we should have coverage on all of them.
This made me laugh. Pixel Bit G, gents, I'm late. I was over encumbered.
That's been a fun discussion. So there's a whole thing where like Starfield lists your inventory as mass. So it's more like you've got a sack that can fit this much in it. And people are like, well, I'm on low gravity. How come I can't fit more? And it's like, well, you're not carrying it over your head, and it's just about weight. It's a size, and you're filling that size with a volume. And unless it's some weird ass material that's going to shrink or grow depending on the weight, it's just you're filling a giant sack.
So just so you know, Pixel. No, pause, sir. Pause. Pixel Bit G and he's been on my show a few times. He is on Twitter right now, slashing, the people who are complaining about there being no mini map in the game. He's like, well, actually, sir, and those who are also with the encumbered, he's enjoying himself far too much, literally ripping people to shreds on Twitter because of this stuff. So there you go.
The mini map. You can't just let people grab everything because it breaks all the game economy. And like, well, let me just have fun. I was like, well, it is an RPG. You're living in a world. That's the point. And I imagine it's probably not great for their engine if you've got 50,000 things in your inventory. Their UI is not built for that. It's like, why encumbrance is the worst thing. Like it used to be a lot worse when it would also make you move incredibly slow. Now it's just you can't fast travel and you lose oxygen a little faster.
Yeah, it's a lot better. Yeah. It's a lot more.
Stop grabbing everything. You don't need everything.
Yeah, you do not need 20 foam cups. The worst.
Take all the ammo. No weight on ammo.
The worst mistake I've made is accidentally because you can store stuff in your ship. So pro tip, if you haven't realized yet, if you're within, I think it's 500 meters of your home ship, you can just straight up just pick stuff up and send it there. But there is a take all button, and like it will take everything that's on your home ship, and that would include the potted plants, the notebooks. And I remember I pressed it by accident. I was like, whoa, why am I 500 mass out of my available carry limit of like 160? And I'm going through everything. I'm like, shit, where's all this? Like, where did I get this from? And I pressed that button by accident because I'm an idiot.
So real quick, I will say on PC, a buddy of mine, he's a disabled gamer, and he's been using this for a long time. Maybe those who know it, there's a tool called WeMod, right? And we actually talked about it not too long ago on one of the shows I do, where some games you can't depend on the game itself having the disability feature that you want, so they rely on these third parties to be able to do that. They do it for single player games, but he's been calling me all day going, what is people talking about there about their them being encumbered? I don't know what you're talking. You can hit a button and no encumbredness, it's just gone, and he's walking around with like 3,000 items just like running around the game. I'm like, hey man, if that's what you want to do, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You can do it if you want.
I get it. Like I think Gene Park from Washington Post, he's like, I use WeMod and I gave myself like 9999999 encumbrance and 99999 billion credits.
Yeah, if you want to, you can do that. Although, that basically counteracts the idea of the RPG that you're playing. But you paid your hard-earned money for it. You want to do that? That's on you. you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, if Bethesda games weren't Bethesda games, the mod community wouldn't be able to enjoy them in the way that they do and do all of the crazy things we're going to see over the coming years. It's one of the reasons Skyrim was so insanely popular, is because it allows the community to take the game and make it their own. So when I see these criticisms about the Bethesda's insistence on the engine, it's like, yeah, because they're making the kind of game they want to make and that their community wants them to make. Like, if you want to play a game where you're going to go to a place, watch a really long, boring cutscene, move to the next place, like, go play those games. This isn't for you. I don't understand why, give the review of a Bethesda game to someone that likes the Bethesda games. Like, don't give it to someone that wants a cinematic 8-hour.
To your point on that,
banger.
to your point on that, when Elden Ring was a topic of conversation, and a lot of people were like, "Look, man, we gave some of the obtuse systems, all that. Yeah, we get it." But the sum of its parts is so much better, and that's why we gave it this masterpiece score, right? I was one on the other side that went, I don't know if I want to live in that world. I don't know. And then I played it and went, okay, I get it. Although it wasn't for me necessarily, I get that the sum of its parts made it worthy, right? For some reason, that divide is too difficult to traverse for this exact game, where all the same logic applies. All of it applies, because at least this one, if you really pay attention, there is tutorials there, right? The main missions are literally tutorial missions for you. I still can't tell you what I can do with that damn finger in Elden Ring, but no one cares, and that thing's a perfect score.
Yeah, so Elden Ring kept a lot of their stuff. You have to you get an item, you have to inspect it, you have to read its lore, and then you'll figure it out. And Starfield is much more we'll tell you once, but then you've played for 50 hours and you kind of forget that this system exists. Like space stealth. Who remembers that if you turn all your systems off except the engine, you're really hard to detect for enemies.
That's right.
You're like, I keep getting to this thing and I got to fight. And I was like, well, if you turn everything off and get in there, they're not going to know where you are as easily, and you can get around and you can land on the planet and stuff like that as well if you haven't built your ship up. So a lot of it just ended up coming down to, this is also a game that has just engendered a lot of A versus B warring. Like, no, it's not have to be console or anything. It's just like there's a very stringent base of people who love Baldur's Gate 3 so much that they're willing to overlook its issues because they want to nitpick Starfield so much because they came out right next to each other. One was seen as a de facto PlayStation 5 exclusive when it launched on PC. The other is, even though people won't seemingly ever accept it, is just an Xbox and PC exclusive. So the discourse around it just started from a worse place. Like, it's just, Elden Ring was everywhere all the time. It was even on old consoles. But this one is those two games that have nothing to do with each other, that shouldn't constantly be compared. Like, I can go from a druid encampment to a goblin encampment in 10 seconds in Baldur's Gate 3, but they don't know where each other is because those maps are not big, because it would just be boring to just constantly walk. So they made everything truncated and small, but the in-game logic is, well, they don't know where they are, and it's actually a much bigger area in their heads, like in your head canon. They have their strengths, they have their negatives. They're RPGs that are nothing alike. Yeah. So their constant comparisons is pointless. It's the most toxic way to do things, but it's the most popular and it's the easiest way to do things, which is why Starfield got dragged so hard into it. And it's not fair to Larian. It's not fair to Bethesda. And I think Bethesda's realizing, oh shit, now that we're owned by Xbox, we're going to get dragged into all of this stuff.
A lot of this drama.
Real talk. I want an honest answer. Chat, if Starfield had released as a multi-platform game this week, would we be seeing the kind of discourse that we're seeing? Genuine question. What do you think the answer is? The answer is no, we would not be seeing the kind of discourse that we're seeing. We'd not be seeing the articles that we're seeing. Yeah.
It was a perfect storm. Baldur's Gate 3 being unbelievably great, and at the time it was launching, it was only seen as, well, it might come to Xbox in the future. We don't know when, but it's definitely coming to PlayStation the same day, essentially, that Starfield is. And so in that way, they just became this clashing thing that even people I know and I respect in the industry just can't seem to help but constantly compare. And I don't get it. Yep. The never-ending comparison stuff, which is the easiest engagement you can get. So I understand why it happens. I just hate it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Yeah,
there's really bad encumbrance in Baldur's Gate 3, by the way. Pixel.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there's very bad encumbrance in Pixel. Yes, absolutely. And he's played a bunch of it as well. I think he's been playing it since the on the PC days, like a year and a half ago, right? So it is hilarious what you're describing. It's funny to me because like there's talk that maybe Larian saw that they could become counter programming, and that's why they just kind of let the chips fall where they may.
I think
it kind of worked out for them.
No, I think they were like, we can avoid Starfield and launch earlier on PC than we were planning. We can then launch on a console that does not have Starfield, and then we can give it a couple months and launch. Give it a couple months and then have a third big launch that has had Starfield now, and then we get to come out on it. So for them, it was just really smart business.
It makes business sense. Yeah.
And it's like, we've got Act 1 ready on PC. Act 2 is all right. Act 3 will patch. We've got it ready.
I love that's completely overlooked. Act 3
that's why I talk about always actually beating everything that I review, because when people only had 2 or 3 days for Baldur's Gate 3 on PC, but then, a couple of days later, after launch, they're then saying, okay, I beat it, the whole thing, or here's my review and like that. It's like, but it's like 150 hours if you're really going to do everything. Yeah. So Baldur's Gate 3 had the Redfall effect in the exact opposite way, where Redfall actually started in like the 7s, but then every late review jumped on giving it a 3 or a 4 and dragged it down into the 50s. Whereas Baldur's Gate started pretty high, and then every late review has just been making it go higher and higher and higher, because it is not. It's really good.
They're not hitting Act 3,
and it's not. It's also not fun being the outlier too. But like so few reviews really talk about Act 3 and its performance and stuff early on. That's only really started happening now when more people have seen it and talked about it, and so. You don't know. And I'm not going to say, oh, you must play 150 hours in a week to get this review out 7 days after it's already been launched. Like it was a really shitty situation to put the people covering the game in. And so now I understand like why it's just not worth getting shit on nonstop if you don't follow the understandable good feelings about a very good game.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing in the show notes here, Ahsoka rules.
Ahsoka.
Well, I've not watched it.
Yeah,
I'm kind of
I liked
Star Wars.
Because you probably watched the bad stuff. Clone Wars into Rebels. The Mandalorian stuff, a little hit or miss. It's been more Monster of the Week, but whenever they're actually doing the big story buildup, but the best Star Wars has been Andor up until now. Like it was a prestige show, but about Star Wars, but not the Jedi wizard space stuff. It was just like the regular people side of the rebellion. Ahsoka is that Jedi Sith super lore heavy. If you didn't watch Rebels or Clone Wars, you're going to be lost show. But it's at that prestige level for me where it's super well written. It takes its time, but it's not slow. But like it's a deliberate pace. The music's incredible. There are breakdowns you can watch of Rebels. New Rockstars, they did a breakdown of all 4 seasons.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Watch all of Rebels first.
Watch all of Rebels
first. Look, I'm sorry,
great, but there's a lot of filler.
Ahsoka is the reward for all of your Rebels watching. Okay, I worship at the altar of the Filoniverse. You are not allowed to watch Ahsoka until you watch Rebels.
That's the thing. If you watch it all, you're also then watching all the Clone Wars, which has a lot of bad in it.
Yeah.
Because it was building up and figuring out. But you need to know the main plot points of Clone Wars and Rebels to really get Ahsoka, and it would. You're not going to get people to watch 920-minute long episodes.
But it's just so cool. Like again, jokes aside, I love we call it the Filoniverse. For those who don't know,
Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni, yeah, he is the Padawan to George Lucas's master. he studied under George Lucas. So a lot of these things, and for funny enough, people say, "Oh, Filoni has saved what George Lucas messes up." You read and you do these, you listen to some of these interviews, and it's most of the time the reason why Ahsoka exists now is because George went, "Nah, man, she's not a side character. Push her in the front." Like, he literally recreated this world that Filoni is getting all the credit for. Yeah. I'm a huge fan. I think Ahsoka is brilliant. It's amazing.
If you're wondering her name's Ahsoka Tano. She was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan from the Clone Wars TV show. She sort of gets inserted in between the first, second and third prequel trilogy. So she is taking a part of that. There's a lot of Yoda and Anakin and all that stuff. It's good. You don't need to watch all of it. You can watch breakdowns and be okay.
For the record, Rebels I'm a fair-weather Star Wars fan. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, but this got me into it. It's very good.
Okay. So, if you watch Kenobi, because Kenobi was the biggest watched one, and I did like the story of Kenobi, but Kenobi felt like a TV show. It felt cheaper, even though you could tell it wasn't cheap. Ahsoka is that more
movie level.
Before David Zaslav destroyed HBO, it's that HBO feeling without being a hard R or anything. It's really really well made.
Maybe I'll check it out. I haven't watched.
I'll send you links.
I'm not going to.
I will send you the breakdowns for Rebels. They're 20-30 minutes each, and they just break everything you need to know down. I probably
won't care. I'm normally pretty good at following any plot. I ruin movies for myself.
You will have no idea what's going on. That's the one thing with Ahsoka, is you just have no idea why any of this matters if you didn't watch it.
Yep.
Okay.
No. It is a sequel to Rebels. It's Rebels season 5, essentially.
It's literally cartoon characters been made flesh. Now you're seeing them walk around. And
you know what you can do.
Cartoon characters forever. It's amazing.
If you're grinding shit out in a game, if you're kit bashing in Halo, or if you're just doing side stuff in Starfield, just put the breakdowns up on another screen. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to raise one for you, because I spoke about this last time, but you've mentioned, Kay, that you're a massive sci-fi fan.
I am.
Tell me you have watched For All Mankind.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Shit,
of course.
Incredible show.
It is an incredible show. Incredible. I'm right now, I'm teetering between three shows that are really pushing my buttons: For All Mankind, Invasion, and Foundation. Those are my 3 shows.
Okay, so I've kind of we've gone on a TV tangent, people.
Yes,
let it slide. Foundation.
We were saying we're gonna have a short show without Nick, and I'm like, no, we're not.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's Saturday night. Woo! Foundation. Started watching. Full disclosure, I read the books when I was a kid, right? So my parents brought me up on Asimov. So I read Robots at Dawn, and I read Foundation, and all of the books long time ago. And then I saw them making a show, and I was like, how are they going to do this?
Impossible.
Foundation takes place over thousands of fucking years. Yep. And the first season, I was like, wow, they really made this work. Wow. And then I've watched the first 3 episodes of season 2, right? And I started to feel that it became really tropey, and the acting was really I don't know if you've ever watched EastEnders. It's a soap opera here in the UK.
Of course I've watched EastEnders, man. I used to live in the Netherlands.
Right, yeah. So it felt like that, real bad kind of oh, this is painful to watch. And
almost
I was
neighbors,
But then I saw some tweets, because I know it's the penultimate episode was yesterday, episode 9, and people were like, oh my god, it's the spectacle is amazing. I'm like, do I need to pick this back up? But while we were burned out of Foundation, we were kind of am I falling away from this? We fell in love with For All Mankind. And if you've not watched it, chat, the general premise is, what if the space race never stopped? All right. Don't listen to the people that are like, oh, wokeism. It's not about women becoming in charge or anything like that. It is, what if the space race and the progress that the space race produced between that Cold War era of United States versus Russia, what if it never stopped? What if it continued? Right. And the general premise is Russia beats America to the moon, and then it goes from there. And it's a slow burn to start, and you're kind of like, this is intriguing, but I'm like, is this good yet? And then holy shit, the show can just go from, here's loads of character development, oh shit, space is scary, and everything is fucking insane. And we were so addicted to it. While I was out at Gamescom, I had all of the episodes for season 2 downloaded to my laptop, and we were watching the finale on the flight home, and my partner and I, like, some crazy stuff's going down, and we're like holding each other's hands like, oh god, this is so, like, because you're like, oh god, Space is really horrible.
It's a horrible place.
One of the best shows I've ever seen. And you know who wrote it? Ronald D. Moore, who was the original guy for Deep Space Nine, Star Trek, which is also best
one
Trek.
Of the greatest shows ever. Yes, absolutely.
And the remake of Battlestar Galactica. So,
which is another one of the greatest space shows ever made.
Right.
Like,
it had a hard dip in like 2/3 of the way in, and then
the writer's strike in season 3 absolutely tanked that season. But I still loved the show. We used to call it the Adama moments, where James almost was just like, "I'm getting my men," and you're like, "Oh shit, he's going go, mate!" It was so good.
To this day, I still say, "So say we all."
Yeah. Love it. That,
and by the way, if you love that old show, the reason why I love Ahsoka and the new Filoniverse so much is some of the characters, Katie Sackhoff, all those, these characters, and it kind of gives me the thing that they gave me before. They're so good. So yes, I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway, sorry, TV tangent. We'll put a pin in it. Last 2 bits of news. I think we kind of touched on this, and then we went on a tangent. Tokyo Game Show, Xbox is doing a digital broadcast. Expect, not crazy stuff, but expect things of that region, right? So Japan, Asia.
Last year's was really good.
Yeah.
So they said, expect first-party updates from Xbox and Bethesda and new Game Pass games, which is what we got last year.
Lovely.
Really nice.
So
and they've got incredible art. I love the way that art looks.
They do.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah.
So it's nice to see Microsoft still turning up to shows, unlike some of the other first-party platform holders. And lastly, Sea of Stars, which released on Gamescom. Gamescom, Games Pass.
That's so good.
Sea of Stars, despite releasing on Game Pass, still sold 250,000 copies in its first week,
and it was both Game Pass rated. And PS Plus. Both.
Oh wow! So
first one to launch on both. Yeah.
Wow, good for them. And they're still making some money. Didn't cannibalize the sales too much. Go figure.
Nope. No, they're
I will tell you though, like, it's surprising to me because I was literally about to play it, and then Starfield. So it's in the mix, but Starfield.
Starfield. Sorry, Sea of Stars Field. Yeah, they're doing all right. They made some money, so hopefully they'll continue to make games.
Yeah.
And that's it for news. Any other news that you can think of that you think is important for us to go through?
Most of the big stuff I found.
Yeah, me too.
That's it.
Starfield. Yeah.
Starfield.
Yeah. For anyone running, we did talk a lot about Starfield to start the show. Starfield, we called it.
Almost like a good 45 minutes on Starfield, and then we went on for 3 other Starfield tangents.
The only thing I'll say that is not really a big story, but I took note. It's Donald Mustard left Epic, which is tier because I wanted another Shadow Complex. Love Donald Mustard. I think he's great. Yeah.
There you go. Wow.
There you go. After however
Shadow
many
Complex
years and
good.
All that. Yeah.
I love Shadow Complex. That was a good game. All right. Well, then you know what it's time for, Kay. You know that you're gonna be the champion instead of Special Nick this week. You've got to be the man that takes charge and leads to victory for your chosen
That is
patron.
doubtful.
Good luck, because it's time for Name a Game. I'm hoping like Jesse hit the button then.
No, I'm waiting to make you panic.
Okay, have you played this before?
I have.
You understand the premise?
I understand the premise, and I'm terrible at it. So let's go.
Okay, great. Another victory coming in. So look, chat, if you've never watched Name a Game before, this is the part of the show where we, normally Nick and I, but Kay's playing for Nick this week, we'll pick some of our patrons and we will play as their champions as we try to decipher Jesse's evil word conundrums of games where he's changed the words to synonyms of those words, and we have to try and figure out what the game is. This week,
I won't cheat. I will turn off my chat. So my chat's up there. So here we go. All right.
Well, no, look, you look up. We'll be like,
no. Chat's up there. It's fine. Yes, continue.
It's very good. Just don't look at chat. Just look down like this. I'm not looking at chat.
I'm just looking like this. Yes, there we go.
This week, you're playing for Sid Safe, Patron, and I'm sorry, Sid. I am going to play for Blind Riot. So, Nick, if you're doing the timestamps, please add them to the spreadsheet. Whoever wins, reach out to any of us or Jesse in particular, and we will give you a game from a list of games. You can pick what one you want. It's all wonderful and great. What's the theme this week, Jesse?
Games from studios Microsoft stole with their big wallet.
Wow. Okay. That is all right.
All right, let's go. This gives us both a fighting chance.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So it's pretty much studios they bought. Microsoft first party games. Number 1 is
okay. And how
Passing
do we buzz
Ring. Oh, I forgot about buzzing.
Oh shit!
I completely forgot.
Wow, I forgot about buzzing.
Pretend you didn't see it. Yeah, good call. I completely forgot. Here, hold on. I'm getting it. I'm making it. So you go to buzzin.live.
So we need to buzz in, right?
You're going to put in, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Normally Nick yells at me. Yeah.
Okay,
buzzin.live. And then you'll be putting in that code I put in private chat.
Okay, I'm ready.
Now you got time to think about it if you remembered what I put up.
Buzzin.live, join game. 1 moment, please. And let's go to
and there's a code in private chat.
Copy. Yep. Let's do this. And I am. Hold on a second.
Okay. Boop. Number 1 was.
Okay. Once you're both in, let me get this up here so I can easily see. You're both there. Awesome.
Okay.
Number 1 is Passing Ring. 1 compound word.
Oh.
Sick Mechanico.
It's going to be Death Loop.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh yeah, passing.
Yeah.
All right. See, this is what's going to happen here. Yes. All right, let's go. Okay.
All right. It is 1-0. Sick Mechanico. Number 2 is Archfiend.
Archfiend. Ooh.
Archfiend.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Archfiend?
Microsoft stole, so I'm just trying to go through all of the games they stole with their big wallet. Archfiend.
Zach got it in chat.
I'm not looking at chat. Archfiend.
Question. Is this a maybe I'm wrong? Is this a game is this something they've bought already or something they might buy? Or is it in their stable now?
They're in the process. Okay, Asante.
Diablo?
Correct.
That means devil in Spanish. Nice. Nice. Okay, so now we know Activision Blizzard games are on the table for this.
Because that's kind of not fair, right? Because they don't technically own it yet.
Okay. We can do
All right,
this.
we are tied at 1. The next one to break said tie is Rational.
Rational. Well, I know what rational means.
Yeah, but what game means rational? All right, I'm lost. Forgive me. Rational. No. Rational.
I don't.
Jack got it pretty quick.
Rational.
Straight thinking. You are sensible. Logical.
Rational.
Yeah, you're very rational.
What game is called
Starting
logical?
up the timer.
Oh no!
8
Come
seconds.
on.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Come on.
2, 1. Obsidian's Grounded.
Oh,
Oh, you son of a!
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. That's perfectly legit. Like, you can be very grounded, very rational, sensible. Of course. Fuck.
Make you feel like a fool when you miss it.
Yeah, I feel like a complete idiot. I don't even know my own language.
All right. The next one, hopefully won't be such a stumper, is Netherworld Cutlass 2.
Netherworld Cutlass 2. What?
How many words? Is this one compound word? 2?
Yeah, it's one word, one compound word. Netherworld Cutlass 2. These are games that Microsoft has stolen by buying the company making them. Okay, Asante.
Hellblade 2?
Oh, shit. Yeah. Nice. Correct. Yeah. Mr. Oh, I'm not going to do this. You're like 1 point away from winning.
The cutlass part got me. The cutlass part, Yes. Okay. All right. And the 2, How many 2s do they have?
The next one hasn't had a game in a while, but if there was ever going to be, it would now only be on Xbox. And that is Ditch Tumble. One word. Ditch Tumble.
Ditch Tumble.
Ditch Tumble.
Amit got it immediately in chat. Man, chat's so good.
Ditch
Tumble.
Hasn't had a game in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's got to be an old game.
So what is this, an IP?
Yep.
Ditch Tumble.
Hasn't had a game in a while. Old game. Microsoft IP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, will be a Microsoft IP. So we know we're looking at Activision Blizzard.
Okay. I didn't hear that it will be. I thought it was part of the stable already.
Fuck. Of course.
John.
It's got to be Pitfall.
Ah!
I
Nice.
did too.
Nice. Very hasn't had a game in a while.
Okay. Yeah, I know,
like
right?
PS2 or something.
Move over, Tomb Raider. Pitfall's coming back. See you later, Uncharted.
What next?
2 out of 2. Okay.
Well, this has got to be a real tough one.
Tied at 2.
Now when I lose, I don't feel bad.
The next one's for the win, if either of you get it, and that is
okay.
Blasphemer. Blasphemer.
Blasphemer.
Blasphemer.
Blasphemer.
Hold on. Blasphemer.
Okay, Asante.
Oh God, it's an id game, is it not? Is it not id God.
Starting up the timer. You got 9 seconds.
Heretic.
Oh, yeah, he's got it.
Correct.
Yeah! All right, it's been fun. See y'all later. Thank you. I'm leaving. I'm out.
Well played, sir. Well played. See? Nick will be very pleased that you won on his behalf, because that point goes to his tally, which he likes to keep. Very, very.
And I'm still convinced. The last time I won, and this time I won again. I'm convinced that Miss Jessie calibrates this for my benefit. It has to be.
Nice.
Nah. Got a few more.
Jesse.
Next one is Icons of the Squall.
Icons of the Squall. Icons of the Squall. Well, of there's going to be the same.
It is, in fact, Peppa of the Pigs. Great.
Hold on. No. Icons of the Squall. Right?
Sick.
I know that it's of the storm.
That's what it is.
I'm just buzzed because I know you're going to get it. I don't know the first word, so I'm just going to go for Legends.
Incorrect.
Oh shit!
Heroes of the Storm.
Oh!
Correct.
I remember that now. Yes, because it was that got me. Yes, that's what got me.
Fuck my
life. All right, next for funsies is Saturated.
Saturated.
Okay. saturated IP that they bought saturated.
Old IP, right?
Might be.
God. Yeah, this. I know the game. I just don't remember the title. I know the game. It was during the whiz bang time of Bethesda. It was like, they were doing all this stuff with almost damn it, what's the name of it? It's like Max Payne like in its whiz bang shootiness. There's a word. It's
We've done this one before, John. I called it dank.
I won that last time.
Wet.
Correct.
Fuck.
Saturated. I'm like, what? Wet. There you go.
All right.
Love
another
that
one
game,
for
by the
funsies.
Reset the thing, please.
I will. The Exterior Microcosms 2. Sick.
The Outer Worlds 2.
Hey, you got one.
Yeah, Kay's been kicking my ass today.
No, I have not. No. This is easy. This has been easy.
This is easy. Just swatting through. Whatever. I can figure these out. Whatever.
I'm growing a little bit too a little too proud in my conquer this morning.
Yeah, you enjoy it, all right? You can fill in this is what Nick
good.
does.
This is good
when he wins.
Okay.
One final one for funsies
Okay.
again. Professed.
Professed. Clear the buzzer. Professed.
I want Kay to win.
Professed. I profess my love to you, Jesse. And Kay.
Lost. No, this one I don't know. No.
Professed.
Coming out in 2024.
Oh, it's not even out yet.
Professed.
Professed.
I don't know.
Neither do I. No. I need my thesaurus. I need my thesaurus for this one.
It is Avowed.
Oh. Yeah. Professed. Avowed. Yeah.
Nice. Can't believe I didn't get that. Well, congratulations to Sid Safe, XboxEra patron. You have won a game of your choice from the list that Jesse has. Please reach out to him on the XboxEra forums or our Discord, which you can join if you haven't already at discord.gg/XboxEra to claim your prize. And for UK, you get the glory of victory.
Putting the chat back up. Yes. Thank you.
You can revel in it.
I am still. I still do
win.
not believe that because I'm bad at these things. I'm terrible at trivia.
Nah, you kicked my ass, man. I was not with it. It's always a bit of a disadvantage for me. I've been up since early morning. It's 1 a.m. My brain's tired. Excuses.
You're old.
I'm old.
Kinda dumb.
I'm an Xbox fanboy.
Hey man, my grays are grayer than yours, sir. I'll just put that out there.
hey, wait a minute. I got a lot more grayers.
True.
going
All
on.
right. No, this is fun. I love this show. This is so good. It's so
Name
good.
of Game is a good laugh.
Yes,
So
it's great. Yeah.
thank you, chat, for hanging out.
Hardly anyone
As
left.
always. No, we had a few, but not too many. As always, chat, we do this stuff mostly to have fun because, shows should be fun. But also we do it so that we can give stuff to the community because that is also really good fun. If you've been wondering what the codes are that I'm holding up, they are exclusive discount codes for Xbox's design labs that I got from Gamescom, direct from our friends on the hardware team. Use them. They're very rare. And I'm not going to buy anything, so have at it. If you're thinking about getting a sexy pad, use that design lab. You can use it on anything in that design lab store, so go ham while you can. It's now that part of the show where we keep sharing that love to our wonderful patrons because we go into community questions. If you are new to XboxEra and you're wondering what that is, our patrons get a special Patreon lounge where they can drop some community questions to us and we'll go through them every week and just read through, answer those questions at the close of the show. So let's have a look at what we've got. First up this week, Hytham G, always first in. Interesting question from Hytham this week. You can tell he wants to get to the, to the inner us. He really wants to deep dive into the personal lives of this panel. And he asks, when you guys go swimming in a pool, have you gents ever kept yourself warm by peeing in the pool and do a jacuzzi bubble in the pool with your farts? And have you ever accidentally pooped in the pool before, to your guys' experience being in the pool? Hang on a second, Jesse. That's a little bit close. Just saying no. I think we can dive into the nuance here. Poop in the pool.
I'm not diving into any pool with you if there's nuance here.
Pooping in the pool is a firm no from the entire panel. I don't think any of us have accidentally or otherwise pooped in the pool. Farted in the pool. I think we can all probably claim to have dropped a little and then giggled as the bubbles have come up in the pool. I think that's fair at some point in our lives.
Uncouth.
Yeah.
Unproven, but I'll let that one slide. Peeing in the pool.
Oh, I want to see how truthful everybody is. Have you ever peed in the pool? Even when you were a kid, have you ever peed in the pool?
I mean, you must have when you were a child, but now you're just like, how dare you?
I'd never would do
that is terrible. That is just absolutely gross. As a man who's teaching his son to be far more appropriate, I will never admit that has ever happened. No.
I've peed in the pool.
Oh, dang!
I was 36. No, I was definitely young. There is an amusing story my parents like to tell about when we lived in San Francisco, and I was very little.
Okay,
and I was still in what you Yanks would refer to as diapers. Nappies is what we call them over here. And apparently, we were playing in the pool or a paddling pool, so this wasn't like a proper swimming pool. So I can forgive this. And I was wearing like one of those waterproof nappies. It came off, and what was in the nappy came out, and I very proudly stomped all over it in the pool. And my mum was like, "No!" I was like 1. She like dragged me out. I was like, "Ah!" And my older brother was probably like 4 at the time, and he was freaking out because So there you go. That's me being honest about Hytham's question. Because if we can't be honest to our Patreon members, what are we?
What are we here for? Absolutely.
Yeah. Hytham, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you don't poo in the pool now. You're an adult.
Oh, no. Come on now.
Predrag, who we have to give another shout out to. Did you see the written review on XboxEra?
Beautiful. Amazing work. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And very kindly, Aaron Greenberg actually called that out in one of his tweets.
Oh, God damn it. Edge crashed on me. I'll be right back.
Oh, dear. Oh, yeah. We're still here, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's a nice thing. Just edge the program. Nice it's like, nope, I'm not going to do anything anymore.
Jesse's just frozen hilariously. Yeah, Predrag did amazing work, so I've got to give him kudos. But he says, hey, Star Panel, without spoiling Starfield, what was your reaction when you got the LBRB thing? For me, it was the moment when the game got me. It was great before that, but after that, I was in love. What about you, Kay? What was your answer to that? Is that the moment?
So myself and my co-host, Mr. Everborn Saga, we love taking bets on things. We always have, we always will. And when we saw that trailer, when we first saw that trailer, and there's a moment in that trailer that hints at certain things, and I'll just leave it at that. Right? He took the position of, it is what it is. And I took the position of Mass Effect. Coincidence? I think not. So when that moment happened, I had to pick the phone up, give the man a call, and I go, have you gotten to the place I got yet? He's like, no. I'm like, I'm right. I'm telling you I'm right. We'll revisit this later, but I'm right. I loved it. It was absolutely, it's very
funny enough, I know I've got lots of other LBRBs, but I still use the first one predominantly.
Yes. They really allow you to open it up and really broaden that stuff. But it's just cool. You just enjoy just collecting it rather than necessarily using it. I still tend to, Yeah,
for sure. Jesse, did you want to answer that or expand any more on that particular thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the it's at the end of the direct. I think a lot of people know now. If you don't know yet, but you watch the direct, you know. It's also it's very interesting the way it and then more of them are introduced. But I in the review period, there were a lot of people that were not touching the main quest at all. Like Jez played 40 hours without doing any main quest, and I started telling them, you should get far enough in the main quest where you get the thing at the end of the direct before you just go off and do all the side stuff, because it adds so much more. So yeah, it was. I
don't want to drag into, because Predrag specifically says no spoilers, but can I just talk about in code, because presuming, especially for you, Jesse, but presuming, Kay, that you've got this far, the twist. You know what I'm talking about? The twist.
I do know what you're talking about.
Right. I was like,
we'll leave it there.
This is getting sci-fi on me now. This is meta as like, I was like, whoa, my brain. But yeah, that's when it really
it's one of the things that gets me with like saying choices don't matter, mile wide, inch deep, and the main quest is not very good. And like, it's by far the best main quest they've done, and one of my favorites like in a game. Like I did not get it.
Yep. Very, very cool. Yeah, so if you haven't got that far, like, you've got a lot to look forward to in Starfield. But yeah. Anyway, not too many spoilers, hopefully. Next up is Jesse Brother. Sup, Jess and John, and welcome back, Mr. Asante. And yes, no Nintendo guy this week. I'm mostly kidding. I do love Nick, but seeing how he took the first ever XboxEra podcast where Starfield could be discussed and then absolutely ruined it was truly a bummer. I do have to say, despite that, MVG did a great job. He's one of the better reoccurring co-hosts you have, along with Mr. Asante, of course. Even if I find some of the other podcasts he's on, like Spawn Wave, to be a completely unwatchable garbage, it's certainly mostly a certain guy's fault and not MVG's. Please speak candidly, Jesse's brother. He's great with you guys, especially with how he hosts Name a Game. Question this is for Jesse, as I find myself getting near the end of the spectacular Starfield, and you knowing my taste as well as you do, what can you recommend I try next? Besides New Game Plus, which I plan on doing, and when I do, which side quests do you recommend? As I admit, I mostly mainlined it during this initial playthrough.
If you love the gameplay enough, literally just start going down your activities, start going down your side stuff, and just do all of it. There's not a single bad quest in the game. Some might hit harder than others, but I did not dislike any of it. And you can very easily spend another 50, 60 hours just going through the side stuff before ever even thinking of going into New Game Plus. Then go into New Game Plus and do it all over again and try different things, or just be more powerful, or see how different New Game Plus can be. It's not always just a one-to-one. It's a very cool implementation of New Game Plus that is worth seeing eventually, but I wouldn't rush to it. As far as things coming, I don't know. Like, Liza P's not going to be his thing. He's not into Souls games. Not into strategy. It's going to be rough.
Cocoon.
I'm hoping he might like Cocoon. I am hoping to review Alan Wake 2. I've been messaging them a bunch to try and get a code, so you will have access to that one next month. So, but yeah, you've got access to a lot of games, and there's a lot coming on Game Pass and all that. We could finally maybe go back and do Halo Infinite campaign co-op. That'd be fun. But yes,
good answer.
I'd say the next thing for you, probably Alan Wake 2.
Yeah,
nice.
Looking forward to that one for sure. Did you see the preview we did on it? Okay, Alan Wake.
I did see the
really good.
It is years in the making, and it looks like it's so far worth the wait. It's amazing, you know. Yeah,
that cake.
I have to give props, right? Thank you, Sam Lake, for this Oh Dear Diner genuine Alan Wake 2 thermos. That's the cool perks. That's how we give the 9.7 out of 10s. Yeah, give me a thermos and I'm anybody's.
When you're
baby.
in there and you're pressing the flesh, you're meeting.
You want a score from me? Give me a thermos. I'm all yours. Anything you want. 10s out of 10s out of the wazoo. Anyway, next question. DeoGame. So much for never missing a podcast. Anyhow, now I can say this. Hi, panel. I wore my Starfield shirt to the mall yesterday, and no less than 8 people stopped to talk to me about the game and how much they were enjoying it and or wanted to play it. This is all the more impressive given the game is A, not on PlayStation, and B, a brand new IP. Do you think there's a lesson to be learned from how Starfield was positioned? And do you think other new IP from similar trusted studios like Blizzard, given the CMA gets their heads out of their asses, and let's say id, get a similar push? So, nutshell, id and Blizzard, if they were to announce new IPs, are they going to get given the same kind of like expectation and hype behind them that Starfield would or did? What do you think, Kay?
I think it's all about how Starfield was marketed, right? People forget this is Bethesda's MO by and large. We got Fallout 4 6 months. We there were rumors and speculation, but you saw it announced for the first time, and then 6 months later it was in your hand, right? That's what they want. And actually, about that Fallout 4 situation, people don't remember that time. Many people got Fallout 4 code to review the day of release. Imagine that size of that game, right? Yeah. And everybody's like, "Oh, Bethesda's notorious. They're not giving codes to anybody." That was Fallout 4, right? So, no, I agree that there is something to be learned here, right? Well, maybe don't like shows too much of it and give it that the street treatment of 6 months in, you announce it, you show it off, and then you give them the complete blowout treatment that we've seen here. And even in the instances of Hi-Fi Rush, where they don't give you that huge treatment, but they drop it and let everybody play, it seems to have benefited them. So, I for one will I always advocate that we refrain from assuming that because they don't do it the way PlayStation does it, that it's not getting done. Because then you hear all these crazy numbers, you hear all these crazy accolades about how amazing it is. So clearly they're looking at those numbers and doing it a different way. You may not see it on your favorite bus or whatever, but it's still being done and the numbers are bearing it out. So I think that absolutely they should benefit from what they've learned here in the Starfield marketing.
Yeah, I like the way Bethesda market their games, particularly. I go, there's like, it amuses me a little bit that the whole withholding review code. Like, I don't get why the UK particularly was singled out, whether that was an oversight or not. But like the best outlet that I've seen wins. Like, I understand Eurogamer, like the weirdness of seeing their sister site Digital Foundry get it and then not.
They're not actually related sites.
I know,
they're
they just
hosted on the same site.
Yeah,
but they're not.
But they clearly work together quite closely, right? But
sure.
Metro, Game Central on Metro. Like, okay, I rarely call out and specifically say this outlet is garbage, but Metro is a piece of shit, right?
Oh,
and I'm going to call it out directly because these are the guys that are like, we're not biased, but let me publish under the guise of it doesn't necessarily represent our views, but here's the reader's review. And my God, the stuff they publish in their reader's review is like, here's the stuff we'd love to talk about. It's never positive. It's always the most inane garbage from some backwater forum fanboy. And they do it on purpose and it gets the hate clicks and they can just get in the bin. There you go. Game Central. That's why Bethesda didn't do it. That's why they didn't give you code, because they knew. Like, have you seen their review in progress? It's probably a 6 out of 10 so far. Just go, get in the bin, guys. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, I think they just released one, a reader's piece. I've got to find it because it really fucking cracked me up. It was something like reader's review of Starfield and how it's the worst thing ever. And it's like, even all the captions on the pictures that they put in, it's a bit boring. Like, it's just like, come on. But anyway, Metro.
But let's be clear here. They're not the only ones doing weird stuff. I've heard, and I'll keep it vague, I've heard new videos come out about early access, and what's really real early access versus the quote unquote craven early access where they're taking your money but not giving you anything early access about it. One is an early access that is the traditional sense of early access where it takes a year and they're building your game, and the other one is just a crazy money grab. Let's wonder where that came from and who was peddling that stuff. It's just
we had that. We had the discussion on early access last week, and I think my position is this is studios finding out a way to balance subscriptions to retail, and it's like it's coming to a subscription service, guys. You don't have to spend a penny, but we also know FOMO is a thing in life, and if there's an opportunity, but we'll give you more, right? We'll give you the first expansion to the game as part of early. Then that's fine. That's the consumer's choice to make that purchase or not, right? And I like the fact that they say if you're a Game Pass subscriber, you can just do the upgrade and you can just
do it. And that's right. Yeah, I just think that the scenario where they pit those things together, right? It's just like silly. It's very naked and very craven, and we see what you're doing. What are we doing? Come on. This is where you're gonna put your hat. It's just anyway. Yeah. Yes.
But I think if id and Blizzard have got their survival game. Normally a new Blizzard IP is a big deal. Survival is a very popular genre with streamers and stuff like that. But is it a very popular genre with the average gamer? I don't know. But if it's a Blizzard game, maybe they're what's the phrase I'm
Blizzard
looking for?
Blizzard and Activision PR is pretty much unmatched with how big they go. I mean, they went enormous just for the PvE stuff in Overwatch 2 last month. Yeah, they were everywhere with it. They'll be everywhere with any big game they release. They'll be everywhere.
So much so that it makes me angry that we don't get a single player actual campaign from Overwatch, because they're so good at that.
It will be eventually. So the way they're doing it now in breaking it up so it's easier to do without killing the making more content for PvP is it's just chunks of missions. So it looks like according to the UI, there's going to be 14 or 15 total, and they dropped 3 at a time. So eventually there'll be a whole campaign. The pricing on it's terrible if it's $15 for every 3, like it started out at, but we'll see. Maybe that comes to Game Pass.
Yeah. And you're muted, sir.
My God.
Hey, it wouldn't be a podcast without someone telling me I'm muted. Nick is cringing in his grave right now. SelfishxBurrito, next question. He says, I hope Nick is out there listening to this or on demand through podcast services. Leave a 5-star review, why don't you? And know just how good he looks today. Don't pump that man's ego any more than he needs. Give him some grapes or something. Make him feel better. Then we've got next question from good old Collingwood. Hello, Tom. All that music's pretty loud.
Very loud.
Oh, yeah, I know. That was saying goodbye to Nick.
Oh, okay. Good old Collingwood says, hello, John, Jesse, welcome back, Asante, and heads up, Nick, who's definitely doing the timestamps. So, what is the future of Starfield? No, I don't mean things like the Creation Club or DLC or patches. I'm meaning the future of the settled systems, the story and the history of Starfield. What comes next after the events that you play through in the game? Do you see future campaign content coming to supplement the main game, or will it all be reserved for a potential Starfield 2?
We know there's campaign content already coming with the first expansion that you get for your FOMO.
Shattered Space. So
I think they will. They normally do a couple of big expansions per game. Maybe they do more with Starfield, but I mean, they are going right into Elder Scrolls 6. So, we'll see.
I mean, question for the panel. After Elder Scrolls 6, which we know is the next thing, would you prefer a Fallout from Bethesda Game Studios or Starfield 2?
Fallout.
For me, I don't want Starfield to end. I need a team to keep giving me campaigns in Starfield. You can continue moving on, do other things. I need more Starfield content. Hell, I want multiplayer in Starfield if possible one day.
Oh,
I want my guy, your guy, all of our guys funny. Jump in.
If you read the EULA, they took the end user license agreement from Fallout 76. So people are like, hey, they're talking about co-op and stuff, and it was like, well, yeah, it's because they just copy and pasted a lot of it. But it would be it'll definitely be modded. If you've got the Steam version with script extender, you'll definitely be able to do that.
I'd love that.
There you go.
At some point,
there you go. Yeah. Yes. I want them to do to the Starfield IP what they didn't do to Halo Infinite. I need more stories in the campaign verse, people. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Yeah. All right. Last question. End of the show. Omen says, hello, panel. Happy official Starfield week. I simply cannot stop playing the game. That said, I keep thinking of another franchise I loved, The Outer Worlds. My question is this: if you were Obsidian, what would you add or change in Outer Worlds 2 so that it isn't thought of as a mediocre Starfield or a Starfield knockoff? Part of me hopes Obsidian might just turn Outer Worlds 2 into Starfield New Vegas. I don't know. Like, I played a bit of Outer Worlds, but again, I bounced off of it because it was a Bethesda-like RPG, and I was just like, So maybe I need to go revisit
He is right about that. He really is right about that. With Starfield looking the way Starfield does now they're kind of encroaching on other people's territory a little bit. They're kind of why Avowed changed a bit, right? Avowed wasn't competing with the people they kind of play in those same waters with now. So does that mean Outer Worlds 2 changes a little bit? So it doesn't, because let's be honest, Outer Worlds 1 is kind of like Fallout in space. Yeah. Which is what Starfield is, right? So yeah, that's an interesting thought.
I think they'll keep their smaller scope focused more on writing.
Yeah.
Like that is their bread and butter is they make the game they want to, and they focus a lot on the writing and the characters. Avowed being this Pillars of Eternity verse thing. And originally it had like co-op, and then they're like, it's not really working. This is not what we do. But it made it easier to sell. So the thing with the Outer Worlds 2 is they don't have to sell it anymore. They're not pitching. It's why they want it to be bought. It's why Double Fine wanted to be bought. Yeah. They just have funding. They have time. As long as they put out a good game, they're fine. Like obviously they've got budgets to balance and all that. But for now, I think the Outer Worlds, the way it changes is it goes not we need to try and get companies to look at what's happened with the first Spacer's Choice Edition that they probably didn't want. Like they had to sell it to somebody else first. And so now they don't have to do that. Now it's just like, well, we just kind of get to make what we want. That's what they want us to do. So the changes they will make will be internal ones for their own desires and not trend chasing anymore.
Yeah. And it looks like it'll also make it stand out, be unique among the stable of other offerings, which is always better, right? Which is exactly what Avowed did, right? It's not like a Skyrim like now. It's kind of carving its own niche within the stable, which is
their tech and their tech, their knowledge of everything was more hub worlds and not giant open world. And so having these areas you go into that you make big and you focus on density instead of scope. So like you can just have the scope in the background, but the playable area is smaller and dense as shit and full of interesting stuff and what they want to make for their universe.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing them really like dive into the good things they're good at, which is their writing and their quest lines and seeing some interesting choices.
I hope we get directs. More directs next year like we got for Starfield. Not to that level. That Starfield Direct was just over incredible production value and
too
time.
Much.
Yeah. But like smaller things that are focused, you get a couple. We're gonna go now to here and talk about this, like that type, and you got like one big game and a couple of them a year, and that'd be awesome because they were really
shadow
good.
drops. More shadow drops too. Wouldn't mind that.
That'd be great.
The only shadow drop was Hi-Fi Rush, according to Tom Warren. The Age of Empires 4 doesn't count according to him.
Because we knew it was coming. We just didn't know when it was coming until it was dropped from the shadows.
Tossed from the shadows.
Not dropped. It was a shadow toss.
Yeah, it wasn't dropped.
Shadow toss.
But hey, look, it's still a relatively short show, all things considered. 2.5 hours of good laughs. And Jesse just accidentally closed his browser. Like that's exactly what he's done. He's just gone. Kay, thank you so much for jumping on at short notice to come and help us out. I really appreciate it, man. I was like, you are the guy that I wanted for this show, and you've made it all the better for your presence. So I really, really appreciate you coming on, hanging out.
I appreciate it. Thank you. No, it's always great. Either I'm in the chat or I'm on here. This is awesome. And this is the first time I got to do it with you.
I know.
I appreciate being here. This is great. No, I'm always lingering with in this ecosystem, in this community. I always love the stuff you guys do. So appreciate you guys having me on. I'm always part of the community, whether it be fair weather or not. Sometimes work kills me, but I'm here.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I appreciate it.
F5 by mistake.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
And I have to admit, this is the best thing about the Xbox community is it's not. Oh no, I've got to do better than the other guy. Everyone's out here lifting each other up. Rising tide lifts all boats. There's lots of friendship out there, and as you saw from Gamescom, like it was like just meeting old friends that you'd known for years and going out for dinner and stuff and having a laugh. And next year, I hope that we see more of the community out there, because going to LA sounds cool, but if it's just to go to LA to watch a briefing I can watch on my ass at home, I'm going to do that. All right, but to go out to Gamescom and go and experience it and do all the press briefings and hang out with everybody every evening, it can't be topped. So I'd love to see more of this community out there.
I hope we can get into the Summer Games Days stuff that Keeley does. They seemed interested, but I asked too late because I didn't have the right info. But maybe.
Yeah. Next year. There's plenty to come. These years fly by nowadays because we're old. With
you know.
It is what it is.
I agree with you guys. We're definitely going to do more of that. More in-person stuff. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
it'll be good. Imagine we just find like a hotel lobby and we do like a massive panel, something. I don't know how we'd pull it off, but we'd find a way.
Yes,
I did a very intimate podcast with Boxenberger and Wandering Dutch on a bed in a hotel. It was very cuddly.
Yeah, I was in the chat. I loved every minute of it. That was like, this is what we're talking about. This is amazing. This is
proper
great.
quality production. That was.
Right.
But chat, as always, thank you for hanging out and watching and spending some time with us on your Saturday or your Sunday if you're in Australia. We love you guys. Thank you for all your support. As always, stay tuned to XboxEra.com. As Jesse mentioned, big reviews. It's another big month in games. There's loads coming to Game Pass. We didn't even mention Party Animals. We've got Cocoon. We've got Cocoon's coming to Game Pass. I can't remember. I think it's not. It's not coming to Game Pass. But I wish it was.
I think it's Xbox exclusive, but not Game Pass. Yeah.
But it's going to be a good. No, I think it's not even Xbox exclusive. It's coming to Switch, PlayStation.
Oh, it is. Okay. So they just happened to get the marketing for it. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think they just supported the developer. But I was really secretly, I was pleased because he dropped some more gameplay footage, and I followed him. Like I follow him on Twitter, and I was like, "When's the review code dropping?" And he followed me back, and I was like, "Please DM me with the review code. Like, give me like 3 weeks for this because it's a puzzle game. There's nothing worse than like." I can imagine like being given 4 days to play The Witness. Forget about it. These puzzles are really tricky. I dread that, but hopefully my brain is switched on. Love you, chat. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe. And as always, have fun, play video games, ignore the hate. Just have a good time with gaming because that's what it's all about. And we'll see you next time. Ciao for now.